Yo, hey, how you doing? Hey, what is up, Shan? What is up? What is up? What is up? You said I'm here for a bit. I've got therapy in about 30 minutes. Okay, I got you. No problem. Much love, respect, and appreciation for being here. Much love, much love. So, as the live stream title basically suggests, we are talking about the Minneapolis protest, but more so it's having to do with Black Americans and how it is that you have a lot of folks out here wanting to get Black Americans into these protests, trying to take a course of action, trying to quote unquote stand up for what is right. But realistically, these protests and many others have nothing to do with Black Americans at all. Yo, J Hub, what is up? What is up? What's up? So let's just take a listen to this video and see what is happening.
Let me tell you why you don't see Black Americans out here with these protesters. Oh, you may see some Somalians, you may see some Jamaicans, some Haitians, etc. First generation, maybe even second generation people out there, but you're not going to see the founding Black Americans who have been here since this country began. We can trace our lineage back.
What's up, Shauna?
Our mothers were born here, their mothers were born here, and their mothers' mothers were born here, and therefore we are Americans. We are not going to be out there in the street cheering for everybody else to get dropped like bombs in our neighborhoods, because that's what the Democrats did to us. They took a whole bunch of black and brown looking people and they dropped them in our neighborhoods and thought we wasn't going to notice it.
Yep.
Well, y'all all look the same. That's how racist the Democrats are. They thought we wasn't going to notice Somalians in our neighborhoods. Y'all think we the same? They don't even speak to us. They call us slaves. They disdain us. They don't even want to be around us. But y'all Democrats with y'all's racist behinds thought we wasn't going to notice it. And so now you notice we ain't out there with y'all. Oh, y'all fighting hard to keep y'all's new slaves, ain't y'all Dixiecrats? Yeah, we not y'all slaves no more. And when y'all's new pets are all gone, don't come crawling back. Don't come acting like, oh, we care about the American Negro. You do not. Y'all don't care about us. We got pushed out of our neighborhoods. We got pushed out of jobs. And y'all sat back and cheered for that. Y'all out here fighting in the streets to keep that. To keep us in struggle while y'all's newcomers get, just the red carpet rolled out to them because y'all need somebody to pick y'all's cotton. We see y'all.
Right. So
and we will not forget how you played us.
Right. So we heard that. Now, minus the whole thing of Democrat, Republican, like I told people before, the government is all the same. It don't matter which side that you sit up there and pick. You are just in a sense like, it's the lesser of two evils. It's still evil. Like I told you before, if it deals like, let's say people like, Democrat, slow poison, Republicans, faster poison. It's still poison all the same. So, at the end of the day, you have a lot of folks out here that have caused problems, caused situations, and specifically to Black Americans, right? Try to uproot, try to displace, move people around, cause a lot of, different issues here and there, and to then have a quote unquote new enemy appear, right? By way of different immigrants that are pushed and placed directly into Black communities. And like I said before, none of these folks are placed specifically in anybody else's communities first. They're always placed in Black American communities. Every single time. All of these people always say like, oh, we care about the immigrants and this. They never try to get them directly into their communities first. how they always want to sit up there and say that they're oh so beneficial and this, that, and the third. They never try to put them into their suburbs first. They're always placing them specifically within Black communities, right? Now, to also showcase how problematic a lot of this is and how these folks want to try to get Black Americans into this situation, let me just show you these two videos, right?
In here.
Man, step aside.
Me, I said no. This is my studio. You don't get to walk in here and intimidate people.
I don't care what you say you have.
You're not dragging anyone out of class today.
Right? So right, we saw that video, right? So quote unquote, woman has a workout outfit on, obviously, maybe like Zumba or whatnot or whatever. And you got quote unquote ICE that pulled up to the scene. Guess trying to get their way directly in there to see who's there, right? Trying to pull some people out, as we've quote unquote normally seen, you know, by mainstream media, right? So let's look at the next one real quick.
Sir, we're just trying to ask I don't care what you're trying. No service for you, no service to Mass Gestapo. You hear me? Watch your tone, man. My tone's fine. Take your little patches and get. Harlem don't want you here. We just out.
Right? So then we got another video, right? So just in case people are not able to specifically point out and pay attention directly to it, both of those videos were AI, right? So somebody's out here making AI videos of Black Americans that have businesses. And I want to note to a lot of people, everybody around the United States has said, oh, you know, Black people, they don't work. They don't have businesses. They don't do anything here. Black people are lazy, rah, 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 right? But now all of a sudden, we got these AI videos where it's depicting Black people as being business owners. I'm like, word? Black people are business owners? I didn't know that. I could have sworn America stated that, you know, Black people don't do anything, right? That we're only on welfare and government assistance. We're just locked up in the jails and in the prisons. And, you know, we're just throwing the, you know, United States into $1 trillion worth of debt. I could have sworn that that was a narrative. But now, because you got this whole situation going on, these are the videos that people want to go out there and make, right? And if you look in the background, it says MAAG and then W, and then it's a part cutoff, and then it says I guess, yeah, there we go, soul food. I'm like, yeah, I don't even know what that is. The food is backwards directly on a plate, and the menu in the background looks completely crazy as well. And then magically they all have these ultra clean uniforms, and it just always says ICE the exact same way, right?
Man, step aside.
That you were able to see here, right? You got this other dude, this other big dude on the other side of the door, which makes no sense. You're trying to talk to somebody, so you're going to yell from the other side of the door while also you're wearing a mask directly at the same time. Doesn't make any type of sense. Then you move it directly over, right? And at a point in time in the video, you were able to see the guy's vest. Let me see if I can, let me just silence this real quick. Because it gets to a certain point in time where he turns and it was like some splotches or something directly on, yeah, right here at the very beginning. That doesn't make any type of sense. So you got this whole clean uniform, and then you got splotches directly. Like I said, you got a lot of AI generated videos. But like I said before, because a lot of people are not specifically paying attention, they're not going to understand that you have a lot of people pushing propaganda out here in order to get Black Americans directly in these streets. You got people directly on Facebook that have pages where they produce these AI videos, and they just disperse these videos directly out there because they want to cause some type of upheaval. But in order, like I tried to tell people this before, in order for the things to happen how people want them to happen, Black Americans have to be out there on the front lines. That's the only way for this stuff to actually happen the way that they want it to happen. Because case in point, what happened with Renee Good? Nothing. You're not seeing a whole bunch of people come out there. Oh, we're about to protest. Nah, everybody's not like, all right, we're about to stop our jobs, do this and that, and we're about to go out there and protest. Nah, ain't nothing happening. Ain't nothing happening. And the little bit that is happening, people are like, yo, we're getting treated like black people out here. I'm like, this is not how this is supposed to be happening. No, actually it is. Actually, actually it is. People are starting to understand and witness the brutality that black Americans have always been talking about. Now you're looking at your own people treating you the same way that black Americans have been treated whenever it is that they come out there to protest. I've seen tons of white people out there going out there peacefully protesting, and then the police sit up there and bum rush them. I'm like, well, that's, it's tough. for black Americans, that's just a Tuesday. For you, this is world ending. It's like, oh my God, how could this ever sit up there and happen to us? I just can't sit up there and believe that things like this are specifically happening, right? Crazy work. Diabolical, right? Somebody said, are the two videos that I showed AI? The one that's directly in front of you, yes. This video here with the woman in the late, that's not even latex, I'm about to say latex, in the gym outfit, this is AI. This directly is AI. This is not real at all. And I told people a long time ago that we're getting to a point where you're going to have people pretty much claim and call everything as AI. So I could actually show you, other videos directly out there, and people are like, oh no, it's AI. People can't even tell the difference. People cannot differentiate because, the average person is not going out there trying to study and understand, certain things to try to like, okay, let me critically think. Let me look at this angle. Let me see how the eyes look. Let me look at the hair. Let me look at, the hands. Let me listen to the mannerisms, the voices. Let me pay attention to the mouth. Let me look at the movements. Let me look at this and that. A lot of people aren't going to analyze that. A lot of people, when they see videos like this online, they're going to take it for face value and just automatically believe that it's real life, and it's not. And the most dangerous part is now we're at a time that even mainstream media can decide to do things like this, where if they may not have the specific picture or video, they could doctor up a video. They can AI generate a video and just put a small print during the news segment that, okay, this underneath this very small, almost semi-transparent, it says like, this is an AI generated video, not the actual person or actual people, whatnot or whatever. But when you're looking at the full picture, nobody's reading a small print. Nobody ever reads a small print. All of us have cell phones right now, and none of us have, 99.9% of us have not read the instruction manual or the documents that specifically come with our phones. We could at this moment in time literally sign over all of our lives, all of our rights, all of our passwords and information, and we wouldn't even know because we don't take 5 minutes to sit up there and read through the booklet that they sit up there and give us. You understand what I'm saying? Right? And that's just to put it on the scale of just having a cell phone, right? So if we're not reading a small print when it deals with a cell phone, which is pretty much our whole lives, we use it to, make businesses, calls, get in contact with family, bank accounts and all of that. What makes you think that people are actually doing the necessary research to try to figure out if they're being deceived online or by mainstream media? They're not. They're not. Right? So again, that video is AI generated.
Sir, we're just trying to
I don't care what you're trying. No service for you, no service to Mass Gestapo. You hear me?
Watch your tone, man.
My tone's fine. Take your little patches and get. Harlem don't want you here.
We just
out.
Right? And that video itself is also AI generated. But like I said before, if you let other folks directly out there who are not privy to a lot of the tech that has been out here for a minute, they're going to believe that this is 100% real. You're going to have other folks believing that this is 100% real. Right? So now I want to take this to a different area, because we have this woman here and she decided to do a Dear Black Woman video. So to the black women that are clearly here, this is something that you should pay very close attention to. The black woman that's going to make a response, she's been on this platform before because I've disagreed with some of her opinions, but it comes to a point in time that you can put those directly to the side and focus on what is in front of you. And she makes very valid points. So to the black women out there that have always, had these folks directly in your ear, you're going to have somebody completely explain to you why you should not even have them in your circle or in your ear, and how that is going to further lead directly to your demise. And it's going to also further back into the whole thing with the immigration and ICE and everything of that sort. So let's take a look.
Black women. So, as a woman, we have blazed these trails together.
Blazed what trails together? Oh, do you mean when black women started the suffrage movement and then white women took it over and decided to leave black women in the dust? Is that the trail you're talking about? Or how about the Me Too movement that was created by black women and white women took it over and left black women in the dust to the point where they had a march and didn't even invite black women to speak at said march? Is that the trail we blazed together? Curious.
Women, to include black women, got the right to vote after men.
After the Civil War, the suffrage movement splintered over race. Black women had to form their own organization to continue to fight for the right to vote. White women like Elizabeth Cady Stanton publicly denounced extending voting rights to black Americans. The 19th Amendment was ratified in 1920, but it didn't end the fight for black women to vote because white women stood in the way. They didn't come help us. We helped you get the right to vote, but y'all left us in the wind. Black women were actually granted the right to vote in 1965 after the Voting Rights Act was passed. This act enforced the 15th Amendment, which gave black men the right to vote as well. Fun fact, in 1913, organizers of a women's suffrage parade in Washington, D.C. forced black women to walk in the back of the parade separate from white participants. This was an example of the racism black women faced during the suffrage movement. So again, we march with you, help you get your voting rights, and y'all left us in the wind. But continue.
Still not equal. Equality, equal pay. We still get less on the dollar. So why are you alienating a high percentage of allies? Like, why are you doing this?
This number hasn't changed in 3 elections. We're not alienating you. We're telling you that we're tired of doing all the work and we still get screwed by white women. It's because this number has not changed. So clearly something is off here. This number has not changed. And now we are exhausted and we are taking a break and we are looking to each other because the next 4 years is going to be mad difficult for black women, especially.
What constitutes white? This is 2024.
While skin color is a factor, white is more about the social position and power dynamics associated with being perceived as white, not just a description of someone's complexion. The concept of whiteness developed through European colonialism and slavery, where light skin were used to establish a hierarchy of power. This is what whiteness is. Here's a more in-depth definition of what white is according to the social construct of race. You can go ahead and pause and read.
If it's just a black pack, like what? Where do you draw the line? Only certain black people? Because I have 2% Nigerian. Am I allowed in?
I just want to point out how stupid that was of her to sit up there and do that. She was like, I have 2% Nigerian. And then she pulled up to the screen. What were you even trying to prove at that moment? That was the dumbest thing that you could have just kept that to yourself. You being Nigerian has nothing to do with black Americans. This is what black people mean when we say that white people think that all black people are the same. That is case. Let me just zoom that back. She really thought at this moment in time she did something. She thought that she had a gotcha moment. Well, I'm 2% Nigerian. What does that have to do with anything? We're talking about black Americans. We're talking about people who have been here. If you are a 2% Nigerian, take that 2% Nigerian and go over to Nigeria. I'm pretty sure that they will worship you and they will more than likely love you and they will accept you into every and any family. But again, that has nothing to do with what it is that the black woman is basically speaking on and talking specifically about. She specifically showed you that no matter what takes place and happens directly in this country that affects quote unquote women, somehow, some way, white women will always use black women and leave them directly behind and keep it moving. And then when white women get into another situation and or a problem, guess what? Let's call on black women to sit up there and pull us out of this situation and then do what we do historically and leave them behind. So when it dealt with the election, this is why you have a lot of black women online feeling a certain type of way when it deals with white women, because they thought, black women thought that white women were going to side with them in order to, get some things moving, in order to shake things up. White women were like, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to sit up there and vote for Kamala Harris and to see one of our white men basically as the second lady. Nope. What did white women sit up there and do? They was like, we're getting Trump in office. We're going to get one of our own directly in office with his wife, and we're going to sit up there and call it a day. Whatever sacrifices need to be made, we're going to sacrifice that just so that we can make sure that the men of our community have representation and keep the power that is slowly but surely slipping directly out of their hands. And now what are white women sitting up there doing? Crying directly online about their choices and asking black women, hey, we apologize. Can we put this, to the side? This is more important. We need to sit up there and come together and fight what is going on here. Black women have nothing to do with this. Trump was not raised in a black community. Black women didn't sit up there and raise Trump. Trump was not like this. This has nothing to this has nothing to do with them. But yet people are looking for black women to sit up there and pick up the pieces because everything is now in shambles. So to the people in the comment section that we're talking about, what does something 100 years ago have to do with today? Get over it. No, it has everything to do with it. This is how you got dummies in the comment section that don't like to pay attention to history, because it's always been taught that if you don't pay attention to the past, you are due to repeat it. So let me see if I can find one of those comments. I like highlighting stuff sometimes. I'm just trying to go right back up here, right? Trying to go back through and find somebody real quick. 80% agree directly with ICE. Let me see. Let me scroll back down because one of y'all pulled up to the scene. Let me see. Can I? Yeah. Better yet, I'll just put you up there, right? You said, who cares? It was over 100 years ago. Let me explain something to you real quick. The main thing that a lot of black folks have tried to explain to a lot of y'all directly out there is that if y'all don't learn from what black people suffered through in slavery here, you are doomed to repeat that exact same history. So now you have a lot of white folks basically saying that, we're all the new slaves, and, look at how the government is basically robbing us, and look how they're treating us, American citizens, and look what they're doing. But black people have been saying that, but none of y'all cared because y'all thought, oh, you guys are just talking about it because you're black. You think that you're something special and rah, 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 and all this. Nobody cares. Get over it. How about you just follow this and follow that? But now white people want to start crying and complaining online, talking about how the police and the government is sitting up there treating them. And I'm like, well, maybe you guys as white folks, you should follow your own laws. If ICE pulls up directly on you or whatnot, whatever, then, just show your ID. If the police run directly into your home and mistakenly raid it because they thought it was a meth lab, maybe you should just open up the doors kindly. You don't be argumentative. You put all of your family directly out on the sidewalk. Everybody has their identifications and their passport and their birth certificates and their social securities, and you make sure to listen to an oath keeper and obey a law commanding officer. You just simply do that. It's that simple. That's all you got to do, because it's crazy to me to see white people complaining online about their own police. What are they doing to you? How are they actually harming you? What are they historically actually doing to the white community? Nothing. They've actually protected you. So to see y'all crying online at this moment in time, and then on top of that, complaining about the United States government, again, something that quote unquote you created, you enabled, you voted for, you still uphold at this moment in time, seems quite ridiculous to me. Quite ridiculous. But let's continue.
Am I allowed in?
No.
I don't know if you noticed, but the world is still being run by men.
White men. The men that you guys raise. The world is being run by white men. Gotta have your adjectives. And yeah, we've noticed.
Women had nothing to do with slavery. Literally. Like nothing. I'm sure we were saying, hey babe, this is pretty effed up because we're nurturing, we're loving, it's wrong.
Hey babe, it's pretty effed up. What Delulu land are you living in? White women owned slaves. In fact, research shows that white women were active participants in the slave economy. And
hold on. I just want to note that at no point in time was anybody talking about reparations. But you got that person right there deciding that, everything is in the past. Who cares about, reparate? And the craziest part, like I said before in the multitude of live streams, I brought up facts that a lot of people have gotten reparations. Slave masters were able to get reparations during the time, both during slavery and after slavery. So it's crazy that the same exact demographic who have received reparations are the ones telling black people, no, y'all don't need reparations. Like y'all, you had slave owners sitting up there injuring their slaves on purpose to sit up there and get $300. But during again, $300 during that time, that was a lot of money. That was basically like thousands of dollars, in a sense, in that time frame. And again, after slavery was in a sense abolished, those who were affected by not being able to have slaves anymore, dealing with the plantation, they were able to receive money for each and every slave, right? That they had to basically let go and all this other type of stuff. It's completely ridiculous to look at people always say that. Then we also have this person here said, LOL, Anglo-Americans and African-Americans are hilarious. You mean Black Americans. As an Italian-American family recent from the 70s, both of you guys are so sad. The funny thing about Italians, I learned a great deal of history about Italians in New York, and you guys are as racist as all get out. Y'all don't like nothing about Black people at all. And when there were things such as blackouts and different things of that nature, y'all were the main ones going across the board to attack Black Americans. Color me surprised directly on that. Color me surprised that Italians are racist. Color me surprised. And you got the nerve to be pulling up to the scene, and you just what? You said you got as recent here as like the 70s, and you sitting up there talking for what? What you don't have a dog in this fight. There's nothing here for you to even speak directly on. That's the wild work. How people that in a sense just got here want to decide to be a part of a conversation that has nothing to do with them at all. It's crazy. It is crazy. So again, I see a lot of folks who are obviously white Americans crying directly in the comment section at this moment in time. I want you to hear me very clear. All of you guys are going to be slaves. All of y'all are going to be slaves. The only ones, let me for the white folks there, let me put it a little bit better. The only Caucasians here in the United States that are not going to be slaves are the rich. Poor middle class white people, you are going to be slaves. The treatment that you have seen historically happen to Black Americans are going to happen to your infants. They're going to happen to your unborn. They're going to happen to your oldest, your second oldest. It's going to happen to your grandparents. It's going to happen to you, your wife, your husband, your significant other, your dead relatives, everything, the horse that you rode in on. It is going to happen directly to you. And it's not going to be nothing that you can do about it. Because at the end of everything, when this country falls, it's going to be directly by your hands. You're going to be the ones that are split apart, splintered, and splitting apart the United States into these different factions and these different parts and having your different militas. And it's going to be you. It's not going to be nothing. It's not going to be nobody else. It's not going to be Korea. It's not going to be Russia. It's not going to be anybody in South America. It's not going to be China. You guys, the quote unquote, we are the most patriotic ones, red, white, and blue. We believe this all day and we'll fight. Y'all going to be the main ones tearing apart this country. I just want y'all to understand that at the end of the day, is going to be y'all at the end of the day. You're not going to be able to turn around and be like, oh yeah, it was the blacks. It was because they were talking about the reparations. It was because they were trying to do. No, it's going to be you. Y'all the ones with the utmost armaments. Y'all got the utmost guns. Y'all got all of the tanks. Y'all got all of the bulletproof vests. Y'all the ones with all of the bombs. Y'all got all of the ones with the military grade weapons and all. It's going to be you that is going to destroy this country. Nobody else. If at any point somebody does have a hand in destroying, it's going to be to help. They're going to further the cause, right? So let's say if it's like a Russia or whatnot, they're going to be the ones giving you, more ammunition in order to faster, to perform a faster measure of burning down this country quicker. Because maybe you might be doing it a little bit too slow and they need to have an accelerant to speed that up. And you're going to go directly for it. Because at the end of the day, the exact same people that you voted for and that you was like, oh yeah, we got all these white people in power, we're doing so good. Yeah, all of those rich white folks don't care about you. One of your presidents that was in office literally stated this, that he can basically rob you blind. All he has to do is basically tell you that you are better than the blacks directly out there. And y'all fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And now y'all want to get directly online and start talking about like, oh, well, we got to put all this race stuff to the side and come together because really it's class warfare. But you've been knew that. You've been knew that since the get-go, but y'all didn't care because you wanted to sit up there and be the main people at top and the only people at top. So now you have to sit up there and suffer with the consequences of the decisions that you made historically. There you go. You're not going to have nobody else to blame when this country falls except for yourselves. You can try as you might, but history is going to be written and is going to state who are the ones who allowed and who caused the country to fall. It's not going to be nobody else but you. Nobody else but you. But let's continue.
They were as brutal as men in their management techniques. White women bought, sold, managed, and sought the return of enslaved people. The ones that ran away from the plantation, they were the main ones trying to get them back. They were often listed as owners in nearly 40% of the transactions involving enslaved women. They also fought in courts to preserve their legal ownership over enslaved people, because owning a large number of enslaved people made a woman a better marriage prospect. The Mississippi Married Women's Property Law of 1839 was the first law in the United States to give married women ownership rights over enslaved people. It wasn't like they were like, no, we don't want that law. We don't want to be able to own people. And let's not forget the Casual Killing Act of 1669. It was written to protect rich white women from legal punishment. White women were unaliving defenseless biracial children of their husbands and enslaved women. The women in Virginia were unaliving the biracial children in horrific ways. They were angry that the spouses were having plenty of children outside of their marriages. And because I'm on TikTok, I'm going to go ahead and let you read that last paragraph here.
And that's something, and I want to note this because I still see a lot of white people like crying in the comment section talking about, oh, this is so long ago. And why would you make laws that that basically give police immunity to white women for treating children that are not theirs like this? I thought y'all were supposed to be the demographic that care about saving the kids. White people. I thought y'all were the demographic that actually cared. But when they dealt with the white men who were slave masters on these plantations, having relations, lack of a better word, with black women and producing these biracial children, white women started getting angry and they started sitting up there doing what it is that they normally sit up there and do historically. It colored me surprised. And a lot of people want to sit up there, oh, why do we care about what happened 100 years ago? Because that same exact thing is happening at this moment in time. But, who am I to sit up there and talk about history, right? You guys write it, so you guys make it up as you go. Let's continue.
Small children were routinely all of that stuff. So go ahead and pause to read all that. The white men did not want to chastise these rich white women after they unalived children. So that's why they created this law, to justify white women unaliving biracial children.
So you said stop saying white people like it's everyone. You sound stupid. If we're to sit up there and go by lineages and going by history, right? Usually when people talk about history, we generalize, right? So if we happen to, talk about the Chinese, we're going to talk about Chinese history. We're going to generalize, in a sense, Chinese people. That's what tends to happen. When I listen to white folks talk about Africa, they tend to generalize when they talk about Africa. They just mention all of Africa as if every single African is the same, even though for other people who are smart, logical, we know that every African is not the same. But when it deals just with the explanation and people just trying to talk, they tend to sit up there and generalize. When we have conversations, when it deals with men and women, we're not going to sit up there and say these men as individuals and these other individual men and these other, nobody's doing that. They're going to tend to generalize 50% of the population so that they can get through and start talking about their point and settle their position directly there. So miss me with any of this nonsense where people are sitting up there telling me in my comment section, like, oh, stop sitting up there saying, all white people, as if all white people are da. I wish we could sit up there and say that historically when it deals with Black Americans, but I guess we can't. I wish that we could say that exact same thing when it deals with mainstream media and the negative news that they always want to push directly out to white communities. in the suburbs and wherever else when it deals with black people in order to be used as a scare tactic to make you think that, oh, well, if this one black person basically did it, we know that all black people are criminals. We know that all black people do this and all black people da 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 and all this. I wish that we would have that same thought process when it deals with other things. But it seems as though that people only realize how ridiculous it sounds when it's framed directly on them. And again, you are the same exact ones. Your people are the ones that specifically made this point of view. So I'm only doing what it is that I was taught. Again, I'm American, Black American. I was raised here. So, I'm doing what my teachers do. Right? Right? Let's continue.
By saying if you did it because you were correcting them, then it's okay. Kind of like qualified immunity that police officers enjoy in this country.
Why there's this divide, and especially when we all need each other. What happened? Why are you guys mad at white women?
We are angry because white women are the problem. You guys are the largest demographic in the country. Out of 250 million white people, 60% to 65% of them are white women. Yet you guys continue to do this. Continuously stabbing us in the back. While we're out here fighting for the rights of all women, this is what you guys do. We are exhausted now. So in this moment, we're going to be thinking about us, resting. Y'all go out there and go do the work. We have been shouldering the responsibility for everyone's freedom in this country for far too long. It is time for you to get up and go work. We are resting. And I suggest that you maybe follow some more black women creators and learn. Because clearly you are uneducated on the history of women, period, in this country. Have a good day.
So we got this other person directly up there said, and this is a classic comment I love when white people always sit up there and say this, always come up to the scene like, oh, if you hate white people, go live somewhere where you are the majority. Well, white people, I could say the same thing for you. You were the majority over there in Europe, but you decided that you didn't want to deal with the colonialism and the British rule, right? Dealing with the kings and queens. So you fled your land. You fled, right? The exact same way that you got a problem with, the Haitians, the Jamaicans, anybody who was Latin, Mexican, anybody who was African, the same way that those people fled from the areas because they didn't like what was going on. You were the original ones to sit up there and do it. And you flee to a place of which people were already existing. And that wasn't good enough. You couldn't sit up there and share the lands directly with them. So you stole it. You took it. You murdered them directly for the land that you felt automatically is yours because you just sat up there and got here, noting the fact that those same people who were originally here enabled you to be able to survive. Because if it wasn't for those original people being here and teaching you how to survive, you would have died out like you did with the plague. But here we are, though. Right, the country that you guys founded because nobody was living here, and you just landed here from Europe, and you just automatically knew how to deal with the land. You knew how to deal with the animals and the ecosystem and everything of that sort. Y'all just knew automatically. Masters of the universe. That's crazy. That is diabolical. Somebody said, I hear a lot of people generalize. I mean, it be like that though. It 100% be like that. It 100% be like that. So, somebody was like, yo, man, race doesn't matter. Well, in these United States, to look at things historically, race has been a construct that has always been present, whether people want to admit it or not. Knowing the fact that we got videos directly out here where we have police in the United States stating that they have literally stopped black people because they are black, because of how it is that they are specifically trained and taught in the police force to perceive and view black men and young black boys. But mind you, people say that race doesn't matter. Okay. All right. You got it. That's some crazy work. Somebody wrote in the comment section like, I'm proud to be white. I mean, nobody told you, nobody said that you shouldn't be proud of who it is that you are. I've never said that. And like I said, it's crazy to me when I see white people pull up to my live streams and tell me that that they're proud to be white. Okay. I'm not understanding why me or anybody else is specifically supposed to care. Again, I didn't even try to get this person's race or information. They just decided to tell me as if it mattered. But yet I have people in my comment section telling me that race doesn't matter, nor should I care about race, and that race isn't important. But yet I have white people in my comment section telling me that, oh, they're white and that they're proud to be white, as if I said that they shouldn't be. That's wild. But like I said before, a lot of you white folks, magically y'all overlook comments like this every single time because y'all are so hyped to basically try to, get comments directly to me and hurry up and make responses that you ignore stuff like this, even though you tell me again that race doesn't matter. It's wild how that works. It's crazy how that works. Like I said, this is not a Black American that wrote this. This is one of your folks that decided to sit up there and write it. Diabolical work. That's 100% diabolical. But race doesn't matter though, right? So why should I actually care that this American is white? Interesting. See how I can actually call somebody just an American? Because specifically speaking, I don't know anybody's race in this live stream at this moment in time up until they tell me. So again, the topic at hand, it might be about race, but in a sense, I'm not really making it about race because I'm just talking about the topic. In general, I can look at the comment section and say that, oh, I'm guessing that a lot of these people here are more than likely Americans. I can clearly sit up there and say that and assume that. But even if I decide to do that and not bring race into it when I'm looking at these comments here, somebody who is not me will decide to bring race directly up, even though people, again, tell me that is of no importance. It's crazy. That is diabolical in nature. Let me see what we got down there. Somebody said, so what is it you're crying about then? What is the point of your stream? Obviously, you didn't listen and pay attention to anything that I said before. Clearly, let me just go back. So let me just bring race directly into this. At the moment in time that this country basically falls, at the current moment in time where we are in these United States, white people are in control. We obviously know that, right? We can look at all of the branches directly in government. White folks, y'all got that. We can look at the White House. In the White House, white people, y'all got that, right? When we look at law enforcement, white people, you got that. When we look at the military, white people, you got that. So what I'm saying is, if at any moment in time destruction or any type of civil unrest takes place and happens, white people, you got that. That's you. It's going to be you fighting yourselves. You're not going to be fighting you're not going to be fighting Russia. You're not going to be fighting Korea. You're not going to be fighting China. You're not going to be fighting people from India or Africa or some people from South America. You're not fighting nobody else. It's going to be an internal war where it's you versus yourself. That's how the country is going to be split apart. That is specifically what is going to take place and what is going to happen. So my main thing is, instead of white folks putting up this whole charade and still carrying this charade, dealing with race and all this, why don't you actually deal with who it is that is the utmost problematic, that has the most power and position here to basically destroy this country, which is you? But you don't want to do that. You don't want to have that conversation. You don't want to sit down in the room and look at a mirror and stare into that mirror and try to figure out what's going to happen. Instead of doing that, you want to scapegoat, you want to move around, and you want to blame everybody else for situations that you specifically voted for, that you specifically enacted, right? So case in point, now this is what we're going to go directly back when it deals with the immigrants, right? White folks, you guys allowed immigrants to be here because you use that as a way, as a buffer or a barrier to stop Black Americans from making it a little bit more. Because historically speaking, you guys have done the utmost in order just to stop Black Americans. You'll make sure that everybody else, all these other immigrants, the Asians, the Arabs, the Africans, those from the islands, y'all will make sure to sit up there and back them. And what I mean by that, right? What I mean by that is, right, and I like to always go back and talk about this book where it dealt with the first, second, and third waves of the Cubans. Within that book, in the segment, the paragraph that I read, the CIA, white, specifically backed the Cubans all of their storefronts and things of that nature. The United States government gave the Cubans vouchers, government assistance, child care, anything that they needed in order to facilitate the means to be able to live in these United States, since they were coming directly from Cuba. Again, you're dealing with people that don't know how to speak a lick of the English language. They're coming fresh directly off the boat. They're not paying any type of taxes. They haven't contributed to anything at all, nor have they built anything. But yet the United States government backed them and made sure that they were going to sit up there and make it faster and quicker than anybody who was a Black American that's already been here. And that was back during the period of segregation. And during segregation, you know, everybody's supposed to be racist, right? At least when it deals with the main majority in the United States. But that's not what the United States government did. It was like, so do you hate Cubans too? You know, the funniest thing is when I read that book and I was going through, you know, the different pages, and it stated how Cubans looked at and treated Black Americans. And you got the nerve to try to write to me and ask me, do I hate Cubans? That's wild. That's wild. Knowing the fact that a lot of those who are, let's say, Cuban, those who are from South America, Mexican, a lot of them are colorists and they don't like their own who are darker complected. So again, you're going to specifically ask me as a Black American, do I hate Cubans? You should be asking Cubans, do they hate their darker complected people who are from the exact same place? And if you want to know what the answer is, going from that book, the answer is yes. Because when the first and the second waves of Cubans came directly to these United States and parked their asses directly into Florida, when the third wave was going to come there and try to benefit the same way that the first and the second wave, which are basically the white and the lighter Cubans, both of those, the first and the second wave, looked at the darker Cubans like, yo, what are you doing here? This isn't for you. You need to go back, get back on the boat. This is not for you. Go back to Cuba. That's how they treated and looked at the darker complected Cubans. And again, I ask, so you want to sit up there and ask me as a Black American, do I hate Cubans? Ask Cubans, do they hate themselves? Do they hate their darker complected people? Ask the Mexicans out here, do they hate their darker complected peoples directly out there? Ask the same thing when it deals with the South Americans. Do they hate the darker complected people directly out there? Like I said, ask the Brazilians, as a matter of fact. Ask the Brazilians how they're treated, deemed, and seen when it deals with the rest of South America. Look at the whitewashing that takes place on a melanated landmass. Look at the history that goes on there, on how the ones that are darker, they are made to believe that their skin tone is in some shape or way or form bad, so that they sit up there and go to somebody else who is of a lighter complexion, European, go to that person of a lighter complexion so that they can have a biracial lighter child. But then again, you come directly up here and you ask me, do I hate Cubans? That's wild. That's wild. That is wild. That is wild. That is wild. So your reply, you said, so you laugh and said, how dare you ask if I'm racist? And you say, of course I'm racist. Who said that? See, the craziest part is you want people to give you an answer because you automatically have the answer written down for you, right? Within your soul, within your core, you already have a predetermined answer about me. So this is why you came directly through with this reply, because I didn't give you the answer that you was looking for. You was like, oh, let me go to my stat sheet real quick. I already know that you're racist. I just wanted to see if you were going to be honest or not, because you blacks out here always try to make it seem like, you know, you're not racist, but we really know that you guys are racist and you guys hate the whites and you hate everybody. The same racism you talk about you face, you deliver to everybody else. Black people don't. We don't have the power to enact and to enable racism. That's what you do not understand. That is a power structure, right? Racism has the ability of military. You have the police, you have the laws, you have the rules, you have the regulations, you have the government, you have the money, you have the people backing you. Black Americans do not have that at all. Let's just put it like this. Even if there was a slight dim simmer of a chance that you got Black Americans that are racist, what is that going to do to anybody? Nothing. It's laughable because they have no power to sit up there and do what laws can Black Americans enable right now that will be racist towards white Americans? What I'm going to give some money to what, like a lawmaker, and what, have white people arrested because they're white? I'm going to throw you guys into chains because you're white. I'm now going to make, laws directly out there to specifically target white suburban areas, because in my mind, I'm like, yeah, you guys are, automatically on narcotics, meth, and all this other type of stuff. So we need to get rid of those drug facilities in the suburbs that we know are already there, even though I may not have the specific proof, but we need to make laws to make sure that they're not there, to specifically target you. Right, we need to make some stop and frisk laws, because I see some white boys that look like they got some money. So let's get our police force directly out here and go through their pockets and see what it is that they got. Let's hold them up for a few minutes and ruin their day. Yeah, no. That's crazy. That is crazy. But also shout out to all the people out there that automatically think that I'm racist. Shout out to y'all. I love you guys so much. I really care about you guys a lot, and for the most part, I know that a lot of you guys are either AI driven or bots. It makes it even better because I know that you're just NPCs at the end of the day. Because when it deals with actual things happening, you turn a blind eye. You realistically don't actually care, because again, as I stated before on this platform, out of all of the live streams and videos that I've done in order to specifically speak to white folks and to try to like get y'all like to understand, start, and again, I can admit, as a Black American, it's very stupid of me to try to get through to white Americans and to try to get y'all to see some things, how your government is treating you, how they're stealing directly from you, how they're burning you directly out of house and home, how they're sitting up there trying to price you directly out of groceries, how the rich are out there making dumbs or bunkers, how they're making chemical bombs and they're just, doing things. Shout out to East Palestine, Ohio, who is basically chemically bombed. Right. And they have to deal with the fallout directly of that. And those white people there, magically, I don't hear white people talking about that no more. And we all know how caustic a lot of chemicals are, what that can do to the environment, to the water, to the groundwater, the aquifers that people could naturally sit up there and use. If anybody was actually white and they're out there in the woods and they want to be away off the grid, away from the system, well, that's now affected. Because the animals are affected, the groundwater is affected, the trees are affected. And I've also listened to a lot of white folks how the United States is coming up with a 2.0 version of a lot of states. Again, information that I tried to give directly out there to white people, but y'all didn't want to sit up there and listen. And like this person said, obviously I'm racist. So why would a racist such as myself, right, as a Black American, why would I dare to sit up there and try to speak to anybody who's not Black American? Why would I even dare try to sit up there and reply? I am so racist that I'm giving time and energy in replying and trying to give information to white folks directly out there who may not be privy to the information. That's how racist I am. You're right. I'm racist. Y'all are so stupid. It's beyond laughable at this moment in time. It is beyond laughable. Oh, that's crazy. You said that dude is trying to use buzzwords, but just sounds ignorant. I mean, I guess. The craziest part is when I sat up there and said, and I literally highlighted a comment and said that people are NPCs or bots. You got people that don't know how to stay directly in their place and they'll be like, oh, so I'm just going to assume that you're talking about me. This is what I be talking about. I'm talking in general because I've dealt with this for a multitude of years before people were even like on the whole thing of like bots or the dead internet or whatnot or whatever that people want to, talk about. And people just can't stay direct. If you know that you're not a bot, just shut up. Just shut up. That's all you have to sit up there and do. If you know that I'm realistically not talking to you, you don't have to sit up there and say nothing. But you got offended personally for no reason. That is wild. That is crazy. Whoa, he said, oh yeah, because the United States government is somehow white people's government. I mean, the forefathers are white. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I know that I'm Black American, right? But somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Are the forefathers white? Do they look like me? Do they have like a fade? Do they got like a fro? Do they got like twist cornrows course? Last time I checked, the forefathers are white people. All the important documents, white people wrote those, right? So I'm a little bit confused. I'm a little bit, maybe I need to get a little bit of education. Maybe the forefathers were Black. I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. Maybe all of the presidents that first, came directly here and whatnot. I mean, I know some other things, but I'm just saying for just the argument's sake, I could have sworn that all the presidents pretty much up until Obama, I could have sworn that they were all white, Caucasian, European descent. What was I confused? Am I confused here? Did white people not found this country and the government? Am I confused somewhere? Because this person is obviously, saying that I'm a little bit lost here, right? And then he was like, when you blacks get more money from taxes. I don't. I mean, I know that you're pocket watching, but yeah, that's not what be happening for me. So you don't know nothing that you're talking about. That's how I know that you're not Black. You don't know nothing that you're going off of a theory. You're talking to an actual Black American here. And I can sit up there and tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, I do not get a lot back in taxes. I wish. Oh boy, I wish. But, dealing with class warfare, the way that the middle and the poor get taxed in comparison to the rich, yeah, I don't know what you really expect there. I don't know what you really think that the United States government is going to be shelling out money directly to Black people in taxes more than any other demographic. Really now? Really? Yeah, no. Yo, that is crazy. That is crazy. And this is what I talk about right here. See how this person, now again, this very much could be AI and all this other type of stuff, because they tend to do things like this to cause, back and forths and to train their AI and to do a variety of things. But I'm just going to go directly with it. So in a previous live stream, for a lot of my folks that have been here long enough, I talked about the fact that when it deals with Governor Newsom, and it dealt with the fires that happened in LA. If you looked up what LA was going to do during that time, and this is a plan that they are going to enact, they said LA 2.0. And they're going to enact that, and the plans were able to move along were due to the fact of the fires that pretty much cleared out a variety of areas and things of that nature. Again, it displaced a lot of folks that more than likely would have impeded or impacted that plan in a negative way. So what is LA 2.0, right? Let me just try to give you the Cliff Notes version of stuff that I spoke on last year. So basically what they're going to do is make a smart system where everything is intertwined and interlinked, right? Everybody uses their cell phone. Everybody uses apps. LA is pretty much going to have light posts that are going to give off, Wi-Fi, and they're going to have cameras and different things like that that are going to go throughout the city that are going to formulate what would be called, I guess you could say, a smart grid or a smart mesh, right? So think about it as an invisible spider web. Wherever those streetlights are, it's an invisible spider web that can pretty much monitor, sense, and see and hear every single thing that is going on. So again, how everything is intertwined and connected, which means that this spider web that you cannot see is above you, and it's able to capture all of the things that are going on your cell phone, on your phone, or even directly within your home. This would also enable them to deliver messages. The state will be able, or city will be able to deliver messages directly to whatever electronic device that you have, no matter specifically where it is. They also specifically stated that this would be used in order to make access to certain areas around a city easier for those out there, especially those who are immigrants who don't know the language and things of that nature. So instead of them having to go to and from and do all of these things, they can just do it directly from their phone, get into contact with somebody, have an easy translate, and then they can just, go and do business directly as normal. And the thing that I basically told people on how detrimental this is that with that 2.0 version of LA, basically what they'll be able to do legally is to monitor everything that you're doing. They can already do that now, but it's on a smaller scale. It's not, in a sense, as in depth and citywide as they want it to be. But with a 2.0 version of the city, where they're integrating a lot of this technology into the things that you see every single day, it's going to look just like how I highlighted videos in China, where they have all of these cameras. Like there was a BBC reporter who went to China to figure out their systems to see how quick it was, right? So he went to the main area, I think, for the police or wherever it is, right, that they view stuff all over the city. And they set up this little game to basically see how quick could the cameras spot him throughout a random city in China. So they ended up, they got his face or whatnot or whatever, and they were like, all right, just go out to like a random city, step out there for whatever amount of minutes, and we'll see how long it takes for the police to catch up directly with him. By the time he got out of his car into the front door of a building, several officers were already there due to the facial recognition technology that they have throughout that city. And also, not only that, but also due to the fact that they can monitor the information directly on people's phones by way of the cell phone towers. So, like I said, going back to the whole thing that I was talking about with like white Americans, again, this is a lot of information that I try to give directly to y'all to let y'all know what was coming. This was like, technically some time ago, talking about this. On top of before that, I talked about other information dealing with, cell phones, tech, and different things of that nature. But like I said, I'm racist though, right? I'm racist. Why would ever in a life with me as a Black American, why would I ever want to inform you? Right? Just saying. Just saying. So we got somebody sitting up there talking about show your face. Why do you need to see me so badly? I'm a little bit confused. I'm highly confused. Oh, matter of fact, dang, I was actually going to entertain you, and then I read more comments and I realized you were trolling. No problem. So this is when you are directly out of there. Somebody was like, yo, stop the racist the racist BS. See, when people start preaching on like everything like religion in the comment section, that's when we got problems. You got to get banned automatically. We're not sitting up to doing. Like I said, people are free to believe in whatever it is that they believe, but don't pull up to my comment section and decide that you want to start preaching your religion here. We're not doing that. This is not that soapbox stand directly for you. We're not doing that. What else do we got directly down here? Somebody's complaining about me reading the comments. I mean, that's a personal problem, so I guess I just won't read your comments anymore. There you go. Tia said the Ring cameras are already syncing up with the grid. Yeah, they are. There's a lot of these various technologies that are going to be integrated. Just like I spoke on before about, what was it, it should have been like 2023. I tried to tell people about the Fed now. And I tried to warn people directly about that. Everybody tried to be like, oh, cryptocurrency, it's evil, it's a scam, blockchain. And again, I try to put information out there so that people would actually take the necessary steps and do the research to learn about things before it happened. So, the moment in time that they officially just put, the Fed now is already out there, but it runs 365 days of the year, 24/7, right? Cool, great. So the moment in time that they actually push that and propel that, and then they start putting people on this, in a sense, digital type of thing, I'm just sitting up here saying that I tried to tell people before it basically happened. I tried to give people, a little bit of a heads up, so that you can, prepare, do certain things. Like I said, people don't want to sit up there and listen. And this is what I talk about time and time again. So, it's not much I can do. Somebody was like, when you're preaching hatred, you get hatred. I mean, I guess every single thing that I've ever spoken, I'm just, preaching hatred. Okay. So whenever I do stories and live streams and I'm specifically talking about the Black community and me being Black American, talking about the Black community, I guess I'm preaching hatred. Y'all don't make no sense. It's like y'all just sound stupid when y'all say stuff. Because the problem with it is that the only time that y'all happen to say this or speak up is when you specifically feel as though that you're being pointed out. When you feel like this is hitting your front doorstep. That's the problem. Like if y'all were pulling up to the scene and y'all were saying this whenever I was specifically talking to other Black people and I was talking about the Black community, all right, then maybe I can sit up there and be like, all right, you know what? You might be level-headed about it. You're still incorrect, but at least you're consistent. Y'all not even consistent on this. You are only consistent when you specifically feel that you're being targeted, and that's crazy work. But y'all the same ones that sit up there and say that everybody is American and everybody's equal, supposedly. But obviously not. Obviously not. Just saying. I'm just trying to make it through these comments real quick. Really, yo, what is up, Gail? I didn't see you earlier. Much love, respect, and appreciation, Gail. What is up? What is up? What is up? Somebody said, what type of stuff are you on? Obviously I'm on those moon rocks. Like I said, maybe I'm sorry, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm wearing my tinfoil hat right now. Anything that I basically state where it deals with AI, when it deals with the state or the government watching you and listening directly to you, shout out to the Patriot Act. Anything that I'm referencing or talking about is just hearsay. It's conspiracy theory. It's just propaganda. It's not real at all. The United States government is actually beneficial and it loves everybody, and it's always been beneficial to the American people. Hopefully that's better. Hopefully that sits well with a lot of the true Americans directly out there, because I don't want to come through and seem that I'm not patriotic, that I hate America, because that's not the case. That's not the America loves its people. America loves its people, each and every one, and they tuck them. They tuck every single child in at night, every single time. But it's cool. Y'all got it though. Y'all got it. I'm on some stuff. But anyways, back to the whole things dealing with Black Americans, right? So again, I showcased the AI videos, right? So now let's deal a little bit with the ICE, protest and everything that is happening there, right? So for those who are Black American, to further understand why it is that a lot of Black Americans have said that they were stepping and staying away directly out of this, take a listen to this video.
80% more negative experience with the African American community in this country than with white people.
Words from Clay County School Board member Robert Alvaro sparking outrage online and all the way in Tallahassee. In a video posted to social media, the recently elected board member and Jacksonville firefighter makes comments about the African American community.
Because they're good, decent people, but that's the 20% of the people I have met, the African Americans. The other 80%, they're being nasty, they're being rude, they're being problematic.
Alvaro also mentions far right-wing political commentator Nick Fuentes and his views on racism.
Also about what Nick Fuentes says, that everybody has a little bit of racism on them. I agree.
The video has already been taken down from Alvaro's social media page, and he posted this video Saturday apologizing.
And I sincerely apologize if I offended anyone. That was never my intention.
The calls for his resignation continue. In a statement posted on social media Sunday, Clay County School Board Chair Aaron Skipper wrote, "I'm aware of the recent comments made by a fellow school board member, Mr. Alvaro. The remarks do not reflect the values of our school district and are unacceptable. I sincerely hope this member does the right thing and considers resigning." The video also catching the attention of Florida's education commissioner, who called Alvaro's post, quote, unprofessional.
So we were able to hear that, right? So you had this dude right here deciding that he wanted to get online and start talking about Black Americans for no reason. Just started saying so again, let's just put this into this perspective, right? This immigrant decided that he wanted to talk about Black Americans. Let's say maybe he met one or two Black Americans. Let's put it to five, right? He met 1 through 5 Black Americans, and maybe he came through with situations where they were verbal in nature and it just didn't work out too well, right? He felt a certain type of way, things were said, right? And those are individual situations dealing with those individuals. Why would he decide to go online wholeheartedly with his chest out with every fiber of his being and decide to start speaking on Black Americans in such a negative way? This is the exact same thing that Black Americans have suffered and are still going through at this moment in time when it deals with even social media, mainstream media, how people want to come through and just, say every and anything about Black Americans. But yet these are the same folks that sit up there and try to tell Black people, oh, don't judge everybody as the same. Everybody's an individual. Judge people by their character and by their merit. Don't judge anybody by, their race or where it is that they come from and all this other. Don't judge a whole group by one person. But yet that's what I just witnessed. That's what I just specifically listened to. And these are the exact same folks who will try to sit up there and tell Black Americans like, oh, we need to come together. We need to put the division directly to the side. ICE is coming after all of us. And no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, we don't. No, we don't. You're not going to come directly out here and decide that you want to talk about Black Americans in such a way like this. On top of, you're a school board member. So no telling what the demographic of that school is. On top of the fact that, didn't they say that he was like a firefighter or something like that? That is some crazy work. So you're around Black kids, and more than likely you might at one point in time maybe have to save a Black person or a Black family. You cannot be trusted anywhere because you have this initial type of thought process about Black Americans. I could not sit up there and safely say that if this dude were to come along and my building or whatnot was on fire, that he's going to sit up there and save me or help me out. He might just sit up there and leave me there. How can I sit up there and trust somebody with a voice such as this? How could I trust somebody like this with a voice such as this being even around my kids or kids in my community? How would I know that he would have the best interest for any of my kids if this is his initial opinion, sentiments, and feelings about Black Americans? Because he had, he met up with 1 to 5 Black Americans through his life and he had a negative experience. I can't sit up there and trust this. I can't sit up there and trust that at all. Let me see. Look at that. Very interesting. We got this person here was like, he's pretty much spot on. It's just not safe to say nowadays because I guess people are being burned at the stake, right? It's not safe to say. People have said a lot of things, and then white people and many others have come directly up and they've given them hundreds of thousands of dollars for just being racist. So how dare you sit up there and say that it's just not safe to say? What do you have to lose? Just start a GoFundMe like everybody else does. Like that's crazy to me. It's like that's I've been seeing y'all do this since like about it started really getting the height of it like during the pandemic, because I cover videos where you would have some entrepreneurs, storefront owners being as racist as all get out, and then their business ends up getting shut down or impacted financially, and then y'all pull up to the scene and support the racist, even though y'all say that y'all are not racist and you guys are not down with racism and that America is not racist. I'm like, all right, you got it. But let's go back to it. You said he's pretty much spot on. It's just not safe to say it nowadays. The quote unquote suffering is what comes from not allowing folks to say it. Things will never improve till y'all allow the truth to be discussed. So basically, you're saying the blacks, right? Because you can't say what it is that you want to sit up there and say because you feel that you're going to be persecuted, even though all you have to do is just say it, let your job be known, and just start a GoFundMe. That is the racist, the quick from rich to poor racist starter pack. That's how you sit up there and do it. You be a poor middle class racist. You say something racist. You let people know what your job is. You put your face directly out there, and then when a backlash happens, you either stand 10 toes or maybe you'll take a step back and say something, but you don't really admit fault, but you say something nonetheless. And then people in America will come up and give you nice hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've covered this before. Like I said, it's genius. I'm not faulting you for it. It is genius work. If only more people were honest. Just like you said, if only, just like how you said that, black folks need to allow the truth to be the truth. If only a lot of white folks out there would, be truthful about how they feel about black folks and be honest in their racism and their lavender and, become rich. Like I said, it's a genius plan. Kudos. Like I said, this is me. I'm genuinely giving claps directly out there. This is not a slight or anything. It is a very genius plan. You got people out there that can anonymously support those opinions and give money without ever showing their faces or their names, while also at the same time going right back to their white spouse. I'm sorry, not their white spouse, their black spouse or significant other, along with their mixed race kids. Also, yeah, their white spouses as well too, while going out in public sitting up there saying that they're not racist, that they're this and that. And this goes right back into the video where it deals with this lady here, where she said that you got a lot of Democrats who are racist. So this is how that basically, tends to go. That when racism shows up online, you have a lot of people that believe in it and that are directly within the exact same walks of that, but they're not going to openly parade it because they know that, it can have a negative effect. So what they will do is that they will support those people anonymously for speaking what they consider to be their truth internally, outwardly, while they will go back to their everyday life and, putting on this whole masquerade in this show. But like I said, when I speak about these things, people are like, "Hey, yo, you're racist because you're bringing up racism. You're racist because you're talking about race." America was founded on race. Just, I'm like I said, I'm not sure if people are actually keeping it up. Yo, Truth, what is up? No, I've been up here for a minute. I've been up here for a minute. Let me tell you something. Been up here for a minute. What else we got down here? RY, yo, what's up, RY? What is up? What is up? You said, who is y'all? You already know who it is. They're talking about the blacks. It's always hilarious when I see white folks say that online, the blacks. I'm like, I'm just like, just say what it is that y'all want to sit up there and say. Just sit up there and say it. What are you so afraid of? Like you're saying you will go around it and you will make up words and say everything else, but specifically what it is that you want to sit up there and say. But then at the same time say that you're not afraid of nothing. Obviously, I guess you are. I guess people are. That's some crazy work out here. Woo, that's great. The funniest thing, FBA Kush, we're going to get into the whole thing with what was it, Renee Good in a minute. Somebody said, "Is this spreading racism or exposing racism?" I mean, I don't know. You tell me. A lot of people like to just sit up there and say that I'm racist. So hey, your guess is as good as mine. You said, say what you want to say about white people, but they are well organized. I mean, of course, you have no choice but to be. Nothing is in this is the thing, though. Nothing is impeding white people from being organized. There's not a system in place. There's not a government. There's not rules, laws, and organizations stopping you from being well organized. You can right now, if you're white, you can form a militia and ain't nobody saying nothing, right? We all know this. There's militia, there's white militia groups all over. You also got biker gangs as well too. Gangs. And people are pretty much cool and fine with it, right? But the moment in time that anybody around the United States who is Caucasian happens to see a group of black dudes open carrying, oh, it's a problem. Everybody starts getting fearful and frightened. They're like, "Oh, this must be a gang. I heard that they were looking for white people," and they'll start making up and theorizing these stories like they did when the Black Panther film first came out. I'm not sure if anybody remembers that, but Petrus Farm remembers. White people are online making up stories talking about that. Black people were saying that if white people showed up to watch Black Panther, that we were going to beat them up, that we were going to jump them. I'm like, really? I'm like, y'all are so bored that you guys just make up these stories of just, I gotta say it the way the whites say it, the blacks, just random blacks, the pack of blacks are going to come up and just attack you for watching Black Panther, a black superhero film. Y'all are really out here doing this, and y'all were fabricating such stories as putting makeup on your faces and tearing up clothes to make it seem like you were really attacked. Again, this is what we be talking about, because y'all don't do this to any other group directly out here, even though y'all say that y'all are not racist and racism doesn't exist. So why would this even be a thing yet again? Like I said, y'all tend to forget about a lot of stuff. Just saying. Crazy work, though. Diabolical in nature. But anyways, now dealing with the Renee Good situation, right? Let's just take a listen to this. And again, this is why I stated to a lot of Black Americans, stay directly out of this conversation. Again, when you see these people, I don't know who they are. I don't know where they came from. I don't know who specifically they're representing, anything like that. But this is what they got to say.
We watched that man literally position himself in front of Renee's vehicle. Yep. And shoot round after round after round into her. Mm-hmm. Now, law enforcement are supposed to justify every last single round. Yes, they are. Bring it out. He shot her 3 times in the face. The rest of law enforcement made sure that no one in the crowd could render aid. There was an actual physician that said, "Hey, I'm a physician. Let me render aid." And they said, "Stand back and watch her dodge." And so our expectation is that in tragedies like this, law enforcement would undergo due diligence, determine whether or not a crime has been committed, and bring charges. Yes. And ultimately, for a jury, if this person appears, to bring a conviction. Now that's in the normal situation. Yeah. What we would normally expect to happen. But we're not dealing with normal times. These aren't normal situations. We have a federal government threatening other portions of its government and saying, if you hold anyone accountable, you'll be terminated. Say terminated. Terminated. You'll be fired. Say fired. Fired. You may be arrested. Say arrested. Arrested. And so they do nothing. We can expect nothing to come from the federal government. So what does that leave? It leaves the state. I'm here today to call upon our local officials to stand up. Say stand up. Stand up. And do something. Do something. Stand up. Stand up. And do something. Do something. Why did we send you here? Yes. If the county attorney won't prosecute, come on. If the attorney general won't prosecute, come on. If the governor won't order an investigation, come on. Right. If the sheriff won't conduct an investigation, come on. If the police chief won't conduct an investigation, and then if the BCA this morning will release a statement and say the feds told us to stay out of it, and then they say, okay. Yeah. Right. We'll stay out of it. When have they ever done that? We cannot expect the federal government to do anything in this situation. And you all heard law professor Nikema say, we locally have the authority to investigate and to bring charges. Now, if a judge makes a jurisdictional determination later, so be it. But we expect this county attorney in this county, right here in Minneapolis, to bring charges.
Yes. Right.
We expect this attorney general office to support any investigative needs, any charges that may be brought. The support coming from the top is what we need, because we will get justice nowhere else.
That's right.
They've already said it. They've already expressed it. We should not expect it. So we need our local authorities to stand up or tell us you are abandoning us.
Yes.
Tell us you are going to allow federal tyranny.
That's right.
We're talking about murder.
Come on. Yeah.
Come on. Say that you're going to leave us at the hands of a federal government that is unchecked, that has no checks, no balances. Tell us that you're going to allow them to murder us and do nothing.
That's right.
Then we can make a decision
That's right.
of who we need in those seats to protect and defend us.
That way.
Now, when you look online and on certain other threads, people say that that was a very powerful message that black man stated, right? Very powerful message, powerful, right? So I just want to bring up this image here, right? Maybe I might have to make that a little bit slimmer. Let me go back real quick, right? Let me go back. There's a reason that you see this image, right, directly in front of you. Let me just pull this down just a little bit. And redo it. Right. So let me pull that image right back so that we can get a clear look. That's better, right? So we can clearly see this, right? So in the upper part, we have the man up there that is reported to have taken the life of Renee Good. And then on the bottom, we have Renee Good and her wife. I'm just trying to figure out, and this is just a look directly at the situation. What do Black Americans have to do with this situation? Somebody tell me, where are, as the whites would say, where are the blacks, the blacks, where are the blacks in this situation? I'll wait. Take your time, look around. Maybe it might be in the snow, maybe it might be in the background, the bushes, maybe it might be somebody in a window. Try to find Waldo at this moment in time to let me know, where do Black Americans have to do with this picture? Because as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing a white man who took the life of a white woman. So in my mind, this will be a white community problem. Correct? Correct? Also, I want to point out the fact that when it dealt with Renee Good is the lady that is on the right-hand side in the background. Her wife to the front, listening to the video, when her wife, the woman in the front, was trying to get into the car that Renee Good was driving, and they were going to pull off, you heard the woman, her wife, say, "Drive, baby, drive." She later on, after everything happened, she specifically stated that it's my fault that she was there because I told her to come there. I told her to come to the protest. So again, I'm just trying to figure out, somebody let me know, because maybe I'm not seeing things properly. Out of all of that information that I'm able to understand and what I'm able to see with this picture, I'm trying to figure out again, what does this have to do with the Black community? Right now, somebody said, where are the gays? That is a great question. The gay community, realistically, out of everything here, the gay community should be the ones to speak out and to really say something about the situation, because this is a lesbian couple. A lesbian couple was hurt, right, by way of a male. But I also want to sit up there and put out the fact that due to the fact of Renee Good's wife, she's the one that enabled all of this to take place. If, by her own words, if she would never have told her to come down there and to quote unquote drive baby drive, if she would have just left her wife at home and just or let her be wherever she was, we wouldn't even have this story at this moment in time. This would not even be a focal point. We would be focused on some other protest or whatever it is, somebody getting arrested or whatnot or whatever. But this is the focal point that we're at this moment in time. This has nothing to do with Black Americans. Now, I had somebody up there in the comment section try to sit up there and tell me that I'm racist. So I'm racist for pointing out the obvious, that this has zero to do with Black Americans. You do realize that that makes no sense, right? You do realize that, right? That makes zero sense. I'm racist because I'm pointing out the fact that Black Americans have nothing to do with this. And that if anything, the real people, the real group that should be out here speaking and protesting are the LGBT. Those should be the folks out here marching and protesting and speaking out, because one of their own was harmed during this ICE protest, raid, or obstruction, whatever you want to sit up there and call it. Those are the folks that should realistically be out there. But I'm racist for saying that. That doesn't make any type of sense. That doesn't make any type of sense. Like I've never heard of that before, because I'm what? And this is going back to what I've stated and what somebody else also put in the comment section. You can put the proof or the evidence directly in front of people's faces, and they will still refuse to sit up there and see it. They will still scapegoat, move the goalposts, or bring something up. So I'm racist. I'm talking about a LGBT couple that was harmed by way of an ICE officer or a police officer, whatever you want to sit up there and call them as. And I'm racist because I said that the LGBT realistically should be the ones out here protesting for their own people. Again, this has nothing to do with Black Americans. This has zero to do with Black Americans. A Black American was not involved. A Black American did not get them involved. Black Americans are not going out here getting arrested from, Home Depots and different things of that nature. A Black American was not even a police officer. A Black American didn't even sit up there and make the call. We didn't make the laws, the rules, the regulations. We didn't cause any of this to happen. So why should Black Americans be on the front line for this? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Like I said, it's tough that things happen, but things happen like this every single day. Or to be more specific, things like this were happening to Black Americans, and they weren't even doing any type of protesting. They were just walking to and from. And then it was like, oops, well, your 12-year-old son, he's no longer here because I thought he had a weapon. His cell phone, it was dark out. I was wearing tinted glasses. I was coming in from space where it was dark and my view was obstructing. And, I tried to shout from, 500 miles away that he needs to put down that cell phone that I instinctively thought was a gun and that he was pointing directly at me. So even though I saw the flash, I thought it was the flash of a muzzle. And then I heard an acorn hit a car and I thought that was another gunshot. So I let off 99 rounds. We've seen these videos. We've heard these videos. And nobody shed a tear. Nobody realistically cared. They were like, well, Blacks, it's your fault. Maybe if your sons didn't have that cell phone. Maybe if he had his shoes tied properly. Maybe if he wasn't wearing skinny jeans. Maybe if he had a belt on. Maybe if he was actually walking in his neighborhood. Maybe if he was on his side of the city. Here we are. And here we are now. For the white folks out there, you are going to watch your own cause harm and damage to your own, to your families, to your friends, to your coworkers, and it's going to be because of your own decisions. All of these people here who are white made their own decisions, which culminated to this point. Renee Good listened to her wife. Renee Good's wife told her to come there, and that police officer decided to do exactly what it is that he decided to do. All of these white folks here played a role specifically in what happened. But magically, nobody wants to be realistically to blame. Nobody wants to be the fall guy for everything that took place. That's crazy how that works. That is diabolical. Mm, mm, mm. Somebody said we are watching cause and effect. That is correct. That is 100% correct. Somebody said the cop told her to get out of the car. Yeah, I saw that. I got that video too. I got somebody from their home took the whole video from start to finish, and you saw Renee Good deciding to get directly in the middle of the street. She was about probably like 50 or whatever, feet away from the actual cops, in the middle of the road. But on the opposite sides of her vehicle, people were able to still, move to and from. So it wasn't like it was a skinny street where nobody could actually move. Cars were still, moving, behind her car. And like I said, she stood still in that vehicle, didn't sit up there and move it up until later. But yeah, like I said, nobody tells you to come there obstructing, to block the middle of the road. You're honking your horn, acting crazy, doing all these theatrics and this nonsense. You could have sat up there and just went to Ross. You could have went to Michael's. You could have went to Kmart. You could have done anything else but be there at that moment in time, putting yourself and your life directly on the line for what? Out of all of the things that people could put their lives on the line for, this is what you decide to sit up there and do. This is how you want to sit up there and call it a day. That's foolishness. That's 1000% foolishness. But again, I can't even sit up there and put the full blame on Renee Good. I have to put the blame directly on her wife. Why would you? You're supposed to be, for all intents and purposes, you're supposed to be the security. You're supposed to be the guardian. You're supposed to be her protector, right? She is your wife. You are supposed to protect her from any and all types of danger. But you yourself, being a woman, decided to bring her into the pit of danger, and look at what that caused. Poor decision making. Poor decision making. A woman led another woman to her demise. Tell me where I'm wrong. I'll wait. But nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to point that out. Like I said, everybody had their role to specifically play. But again, if the person that is supposed to be the guardian of their wife, that's supposed to protect their wife, that's supposed to quote unquote be the head, I would expect you to have better management skills. I would expect you to actually be more logical and less emotional. But clearly, that's not what we got out of this situation. This is what happens when you allow emotions to be the driving force in a lot of situations, especially very dangerous situations. It gets people hurt. Either everybody gets hurt or somebody's going to get hurt. At the end of the day, somebody is going to lose. And that is what we learned directly from this story. So again, I go back to what I stated before. This has nothing to do with Black Americans. And shout out to Cameron JK. You are correct. They do at this moment in time have a GoFundMe. I think from the screenshot that I've seen about a day or so ago, within a 24-hour period, I say it was up to, I think, yeah, as you stated, like 1.5 million. Yeah, they got millions of dollars directly from this. It's probably going to go higher because no telling if there might be another type of, if there's like a go send go or different things. Because usually when events like this happen, people tend to put these things out wherever they can to get as much money as they can. So, like I said before, hey, it be like that. This is why I sat up there and told people, in a lot of instances, hey, So better yet, let me put it like this for a clear-cut example. If this was a Black American couple, nobody would care. I'm just going to be nobody would care. It would not really receive a lot of news coverage and and all the other type of stuff and yada 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 and rah 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 rah. We know how this would normally go. We know how the media would sit up there and spin it. We know how people would sit up there and automatically demonize and all this other type of stuff and rah rah rah. We know that if people want to sit up there and actually be honest, we know how this will go. We know for certain that people would not be getting $1.5 million. we know that would not be the case. We know that wouldn't be the case. But because they need the image of somebody innocent to be specifically out there in order to get some things, in order for a transformation to happen, this is, in a sense, what you have. This is what you have. So like I said, Black Americans, stay home. Black Americans, stay home. Because if you don't stay home, I promise you, what you're able to see here is going to sit up there and happen, but it's going to be far worse. It's going to be far worse. Far worse. Like it's always been. Right? So again, that's dealing with the Renee Good situation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down some of the videos that I've already covered so I don't mess myself up and get mixed up with certain things here, so I can keep track of all the videos that we got. Right, so we got about 1 2 3 4 5. So we got no, we already did this one, right? So yeah, we did this one. So we got 4 videos left, so I got y'all right. So now we're going to take a look directly, a little bit of a blast from the past, a little bit of a mixture, because again, it's still dealing with the whole situation with ICE and different things of the sort. So let's just take a listen to these people real quick.
Who are saying like this isn't our fight, stay home, are really something else. Like the only reason why Trump can't come for us is because we are literally property of America. We were bought and brought here. But trust me, we aren't treated any better, bro. Our families are just broken in different ways. Like, please, wake up. Please, wake up, wake up.
Hey, for all y'all Black people that see what's going on with the Latinos and y'all.
Hold on. So this person, let me see. Where did you go? So you said they're law enforcement, still government. Like I said before, I said either or. Are you hard of hearing? Are you stupid? Like, this is what I be saying. Like, people are so emotional that they just want to hurry up and just write something out. You couldn't even write the full name. You could have just copy and pasted the name, even if you're on cell phone. That much I do know. You could have copy pasted the name, couldn't do that, did a shortcut, and then you decided to call me dumb because you're like, well, you do know that, they're law enforcement and still government officials. I said either or, whatever you want to consider them as. Take it as you want to sit up there and take it. But you couldn't do that. You just wanted to give an emotional response because you're just emotionally unhinged. Like, yo, just breathe. Take your time. Be less emotional. Pay attention and actually listen. Right? It's not that difficult. Let's go back to the video. Like I said, craziness out here. It's nonsensical.
The Black people who are saying like this isn't our fight, stay home, are really something else. Like the only reason why Trump can't come for us is because we are literally property of America. We were bought and brought here. But trust me, we aren't treated any better, bro. Our families are just broken in different ways. Like, please, wake up. Please, wake up, wake up.
Hey, for all y'all Black people that see what's going on with the Latinos and y'all saying y'all sitting this one out to make white people happy, guess what? You next. If you Black, you better believe it. You next. Give it a hot second. ICE gonna be looking for us too. They about to be raiding all the basketball games, all the soul food restaurants and all that. That you different from the Latino people, man.
They're gonna try to send us back. Like, you see that, right? Like, they're going to send us back. I would probably predict that if you commit a crime and you are within 1 or 2 generations of getting here and you're Black, you're definitely going back. And then they will figure out a way for this to start applying to other Black people who commit a crime or they find a reason, who have lineage that have been here since the beginning. So, they have a little spot in Latin America. They're getting their spot in Africa. This is what they meant by making it great.
And this is what it looks like when people want to get online and they want to use these type of tactics to fearmonger. You listen to three folks here, and again, I don't know who she is, where she came from. I don't know who this dude is, where it is that he came from, and I especially don't know where the bull ring is. I don't know who she is, where she came from, and because there's a lot of cosplayers directly out here when it deals with Black Americans. This is why delineation is a thing that needs to sit up there and happen, needs to take place, and people need to stand 10 toes down directly on it. Because you got a lot of folks out here that now want to put on the quote unquote, the costume in order to get their points across, because they can't do it with their actual tone, with their actual voice, with their actual dialect. They can't do it with their flag directly in their bio. So now it's time up. Let's go back. Let's settle back in. Let's act as and talk like Black Americans in order to have them, right behind us and marching, because we're all being attacked. No, I've never been attacked by ICE. I've never even had a conversation with ICE at all, being outside. Never. At all. Never had a car pull up on me, roll up on me, stop me, frisk me, ask for an ID or anything like that, or try to ask me, am I this, that? Never. So I'm just saying, I don't know who these people are. I don't know where they're from, but I need people to actually be honest and real and specifically state that they are not from here, and they are fearful that they're going to be made to go back to where they either originally came from or where their families originally came from. If people were just more honest instead of masquerading, people could actually have some conversations. I'm not saying that things will be done. I'm just saying that at least the door will be open for conversations. But because you have people masquerading and wanting to sit up there and lie directly to Black Americans, this is why Black Americans are stepping directly away from a lot of things. Just saying. Just saying, this is why people are sitting up there stepping back. Because I don't know who any of these folks are. That is wild. 100%. Like I said, got the whole bull ring up there. We're like, oh yeah, they're this and that and all this other type of stuff. They're coming after. It's the same old tale. It's like how a lot of immigrants come over here and they'll be like, yo, I came over here with 2 red cents, a t-shirt, and a dream. And then I became a multi-millionaire and all this. I'm like, yeah, sure you did. And now we're back on this whole thing where every single body that's an immigrant, they were like, oh yeah, they're coming after all of us. Or so for the Black Americans, after they're done with us, what do you think that they're going to sit up there and do to you? How do you think that they're going to sit up there and treat you? We've always, it don't matter how it goes. You're in the middle of this at this moment in time. We're always first and we're last. People just don't understand it. We're first and we're last. We're always on this wheel, no matter how you turn it. You all are just now getting your fair turn on this wheel. It's not even a fair turn. You guys are just getting a turn. That's it. It's not even a fair turn because it's not going to be there for that long. Like I said, go back and look at 9/11. What was happening to the Arabs? Anybody who was Muslim, that was what, about a good, like 10, maybe like 15 years, somewhere up in there. I at least give it a nice, like solid 10 years that people were like, yeah, they were not really feeling the Muslims like that, right? Like I said, they got their turn directly on the wheel. And when you look at the Muslim population, again, they don't really like Black Americans. And this is why, again, I sit up there and tell a lot of Black Americans, you need to just sit down and mind your business. Because a lot of these folks who are now having to deal with ICE, they never liked Black Americans from the get-go. They've always had something negative to say, something stereotypical, right? They always have these type of racial slurs that they want to sit up there and use. They have these certain judgments when it deals with Black kids in the Black community, especially the Africans. I'm not leaving y'all directly out of nothing. Like I said, I went to school and I knew some Africans. And I understood from a standpoint that even if I wanted to go through and like visit somebody who was African, go directly to their house, it was a no. It wasn't going to sit up there and happen. And I'm like, that's a little bit weird. I'm like, why wouldn't I, like, if we're cool, like, why wouldn't I be able to, go to your house, like, say what's up to your parents or whatnot, whatever? Because again, that's how I was raised as a Black American. For me, I was raised that, hey, if I have a friendship with somebody else or whatnot or whatever, like, yo, you go introduce yourself directly to, their parents to let them know who it is that you are, right? And vice versa. That's what, people that I knew, that's what they would do. They would come down to my house and they would introduce themselves directly to my folks, and they folks knew they folks, and different things of that sort. So everybody knew everybody. That's how I knew that there was a difference when it dealt with Black Americans and Africans. So, like I said, I don't know what else to sit up there and tell people directly out there. I guess people got to go through their own experiences and or have those conversations where those Africans are actually real. Instead of having the online conversations, they have the conversations in real life with Black Americans and letting them know, like, hey, my parents don't really mess with y'all. They told us this, that, and the third. Because I can hear, I have been showed umpteen videos of Africans who are the children of immigrants specifically talking online amongst themselves, talking about how it is that their parents told them to stay back from Black Americans, don't have them as friends, don't bring that culture or whatever it is that Black Americans do, don't bring that to the house, because this is an African household. Even though they're in America, this is the African household. Like I said, I don't know what to tell people. I do not know what to tell people. Somebody said that, why isn't ICE in Chinatown? That's a good question. Chinatown, so I put it to you like this. For the Asians, they are considered the model minority, right? And which basically means that they are, in a sense, side by side. They are that buffer class when it deals with immigrants and stopping Black Americans, or better yet, they're basically a stopgap position to make sure that, hey, all right, we're Asians, we're going to put you, in a sense, right here next to us. You're not the same as us. You're not on the same level. You're not equal, but we're going to put you just here so that you're above the Black Americans, so that you can, in a sense, impede on whatever it is that they're trying to do. What do I mean by that? Go back and look at the whole thing dealing with DEI and going back with affirmative action. I cover videos where Asian Americans specifically stated that affirmative action was racist and the only ones that benefited from it were Black Americans, and that affirmative action was used in order to take seats away from deserving Asians. And the Asians found out later on that white women and Asians and others were actually benefiting more from DEI and affirmative action more than Black people. And now those same Asians who voted to get rid of affirmative action and DEI and all these things, they're trying to sue, especially when it deals with the colleges. But I'm like, I thought that the Asians were smart and that they were just getting these seats because they were smart. I guess not. I guess affirmative action and other things were very much helping them out. This is why their population in a lot of colleges actually fell. Color me surprised. But like I said before, this is what happens when people think that they are bigger than a program. When people think that they actually have an end, that they're actually respected, they will soon see exactly what it is, that you are used as a tool in order to stop or mitigate the potential or the growth of another group of people, because they gave you some Happy Meals and some trinkets. And again, I want to point out the fact that the Asian community is the exact same group that were held, both the Japanese and the Chinese were held in internment camps in the United States. And these are the exact same ones that are helping out the system in place that put them in internment camps at one moment in time. They're helping out the exact same system stop Black Americans, impede on Black Americans. Wild work. But like everybody says, that they're hardworking and they earn everything that they earn, because they just come here. They don't know anything about English here. They don't even know how to read the signs or whatnot or whatever, and that somehow, some way, that they pull themselves up by their bootstraps and they become $1 million business and or corporation. You got it. Like I said, I can keep going directly with this. The main point is Black Americans have tried to sit up there and warn everybody specifically what it is. We even tried to warn poor whites, middle class whites. Y'all didn't want to listen. None of y'all specifically wanted to listen to us at all. So just sit back and watch the country, be destroyed. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Watch everything that you love and hold dear. Watch that be destroyed and slip directly through your fingers because you enabled it. Because you think you know what is best for you. You got it. Like I said, black people can't tell y'all nothing. Y'all got it. You are the masters of the universe. And as the masters of the universe, I expect y'all to sit up there and fix every and anything that is going on. But you're not. That's crazy. That is diabolical. And like somebody else said, like Patricia said, she was like, "No, we're lazy." Remember? Yeah, that's facts. Everybody, it don't matter what. This is the one thing, right? And this is you could say it's about race or it's not about race, but every demographic that is not Black American has come through and stated that Black Americans in general are lazy. I've heard it from every demographic. It don't matter if it's white American, don't matter if it's Europeans. It doesn't matter if they are Indian, if they're African, if they come directly from the islands, whoever. Anybody who is not Black American, all of those groups in unison have said that Black Americans are lazy and that we don't do anything. We don't own anything. We don't contribute. We don't create. All we do is take, and cause problems in the United States. And in comparison, everybody else is just holier than thou. Like I said, y'all got it then. You all, as for people that wanted to come through this live stream and try to say that I'm racist, all of y'all got it. Right? We're lazy. We don't do nothing. So fine, no problem. Black people are not going to lose because we're trying to fight this battle. We're just going to lose from our own standpoint. Right? So we're going to show you exactly what it is. So we're just going to step back. Y'all got it. You sit up there and fix it. You go out there and march. You go out there and sacrifice and put the lives of your wives, your husbands, your children, your uncles, or whoever else directly on the line in order to fix this situation, again, of which y'all created. Go out there and do it. You want to actually see some people being lazy, you're going to sit up there and get just that. And I keep trying to tell people, if you speak on things long enough, you're going to get specifically what it is from the universe that you asked for it. All of y'all said that Black people are lazy, you're going to get just that. We're going to step back and stand down, eat popcorn, listen to music, hang out with our friends, with our family. We're going to mind our business, even if it is directly in front of us. A lot of us are going to mind our business. I'm not saying that everybody's going to sit up there and do it. You're going to have a lot of bleeding hearts directly out there that's not going to be able to get directly on that on the program. I get it. I understand it. And that's on them. But for the greater majority that understand the history of this country and how it is that people see and deem and treat Black Americans, hands are up and Jesus can take the wheel, or whatever deity that you believe in. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Man, that's crazy. You said migrants and blacks need to unite. You share the same oppressor. You know, I wish as the videos that I've specifically covered when it dealt with LA, there were Latin gangs out there that firebombed Black neighborhoods and that pushed Black people out of their lands and their neighborhoods. I wish you would have told that to those LA gangs that are doing that want to be out there displacing Black people because they don't like Black people. I wish that you would tell that to the migrants that come here and they try to pedestalize themselves and think that they are so close to whiteness that they can sit up there and be ultra judgmental to Black Americans and try to bring up and say any and every negative stereotype just so that they can be by the side of their master and get a few doggy treats. I wish that you would tell that to those folks, but you're not going to do that though. Right? You're not going to have that conversation. Like, it's crazy to me that every single time that Black Americans, like whenever it is that we speak, it's amazing how people want to pull up to the scene saying that we need to come together. Didn't I just talk about this earlier on when I stated that whenever white people create problems and then it gets out of control and they don't know what to do and they don't have really nobody to blame but themselves, they'll be like, yo, Black people, we need your help. Y'all got to come through. we got to fix this. This affects all of us. We're all Americans. Now at that moment, when a problem gets so far out of control for them, now everybody's American. Now everybody's American. When it's a problem that they can manage and handle, only their group is American. That's crazy. So you further stated that because you all get pinned down against each other, I don't even know what that it basically is. You said something wants you fighting for scraps. Any and everything that y'all got to sit up there and say in order to try to make people come together, black people have been preaching and saying this for the longest time possible. You can look at Martin Luther King. Didn't Martin Luther King basically say the exact same thing that you're saying? And he said that during the civil rights moment, and he tried to bring people together, but his house was still getting firebombed. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that also the same demographic that took his life in the hospital as well, too? Correct me if I'm wrong. So this is why I keep sitting up here saying, miss me with the whole thing. Because like I said, it's crazy that the United States government wants to have a statue of MLK, and those were the same folks that were fighting against the civil rights and MLK. Like I said, it's some wild work. Like I said before, the United States has been playing in black people's faces for the longest time possible. We don't got no time. You know. You said Latinos are not a race. We are united by the same oppressor. Blacks and Latinos are only in the United States, not friends. Let me make something very clear. Let me make something, because you said you're Latino, right? If words serve me correctly when it deals with South America as the continent, as the landmass that it is, somebody can go back and research and correct me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn that the South American government specifically pulled over about 1 to 2 million Europeans in order to whitewash South America because it was dark. So I'm just trying to figure out, how do we have the same oppressor when the South American government, again, correct me if I'm wrong, when those out there allow those Europeans to come over there so that the lands can be whitewashed, more manageable by color? I'm just a little bit confused on how we got the same oppressor, because we don't. We really do not. We really do not. Like I said before, when it deals with like the Mexicans, the lighter skinned Mexicans, the lighter complected Mexicans do not like the darker complected Mexicans. When it deals with South America, a lot of those in South America do not like those in Brazil who are darker complected. The Brazilians are some of the most proud people with the darkest complexions that you will see directly on that landmass. Everybody else, you look at like Telemundo and all these other shows, you see the lightest of the lightest. I can even take this over there to India. It's the exact same thing. Over there to Bollywood, they show India is a dark continent itself. Everybody, meaning that everybody is melanated. But when you look at their movies, they show the most lightest to the whitest Indians. Color me surprised. Color me surprised. But everybody's like, oh no, we all share the same oppressor. No, we do not. No, we don't. You said only in the United States you have blacks and Latinos separate. That's because black Americans are not really down there in South America. What are you talking about? You do realize that, right? Black Americans are only in America. Let me repeat that again. Black Americans are only in America. Black Americans as a whole are not down there in South America. Like what are we talking about here? You acting like black Americans are just in by the millions all over the world. No, we're not. We are not. Like, that's crazy. He was like, black and Latinos are a thing. No, we are not. You said only the United States has successfully divided people by race and not by oppressor. This is the thing, right? I done covered so many videos dealing with Latinos coming up here talking so negative, talking real greasy when it deals with black Americans. It's funny how people skip over those live streams and those videos and have no comments for that. But then when I talk about stuff like this, people are like, yo, we need to come together. Huh? How do y'all do that? That's amazing. The gymnastics, the loop-de-loops that y'all sit up there and do, and y'all bypass all this other stuff that's being specifically stated and said to black Americans in a negative way, like the most horrendous stuff. Y'all magically don't see that, and you overlook that because you see something that's happening over here that is negatively happening, and you need those to come over there with you in order to help benefit you in that situation. Yeah, no, miss me with that. Miss me with that. He was like, those are paid actors. So let me get this straight, right? So when I covered stories, and when black Americans have covered stories in LA of Latin gangs burning down their neighborhoods and their homes and their businesses, those were all paid actors. That's what you're telling me. When I can bring you videos when it shows your elders, your Latin elders, talking about during segregation that they didn't know about segregation, that they were able to go to the exact same restrooms, drink from the exact same fountains as white people. So you're saying that they're paid actors as well too? Is that what we're doing? You can't be serious. You like, bro, yo, you cannot. Yo, you can't be serious. You cannot be serious on. I'm about. I got you. No problem though, because you got a certain belief. I love when people have beliefs. I have no problem with that. So we're gonna. I'm gonna see if I can find this as quick as possible. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Perfect. Right. So you said that everybody is, whatever I bring up is basically paid actors, right? No problem. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. So I need you to explain to me these folks directly in front of us at this moment in time. Explain this to me real quick. I need you to explain this to me. Explain that to me. Let me see. Let me go through these comments. I got to roll through try quite a bit of stuff here to get to the bottom. Let me see, because I'm waiting for you to explain this to me, right? Because you're saying that these two should be paid actors by way of your words, correct? So you got one of your forefathers, right? One up top, he said Latin Americans of Mexican descent belong to the Caucasian race and are therefore white. That was 1952. That was John J. Herrera, right? Underneath him, you got Felix Tijerina, right, who was a Mexican American. He said, "Let the Negro fight his own battles. His problems are not mine. I don't want to ally with him." Right? So let's just look at a few words, right? Dr. Hector Garcia, right? By the early 1950s, the American GI Forum, while still denying that it was a civil rights organization, sought to end discrimination in Texas schools, in employment, and in the use of public spaces. The core strategy depended on educating Anglos, aka whites, that Americans of Spanish-speaking descent or Latin Americans were Caucasian, and that to identify them as anything but white, whether on birth certificates or traffic citations, was illegal. Making any distinction between Latin Americans and whites, he wrote, as a slur, an insult to all Latin Americans of Spanish descent. So let me know, where are these paid actors? Let me know. Let me know that. Let me know that. I'm just waiting for a reply. I'm sitting here. I'm waiting. See, y'all done put them in the whole thing. This is the whole reason I be having, commentary, trying to have these conversations, because I know I'm going to, inevitably do what I do, but I'm just, trying to have conversations out here. Because if you got one person that thinks just like this, you got a lot of other people that see it the exact same way as him, where they're like, "Oh, Black Americans, we need to come together." Y'all wasn't coming together with us in the beginning. Look at what y'all were sitting up there doing. Y'all basically told the United States government and other folks out there that you are white, and if people don't consider you white, then it is considered a slur. That's crazy to me. Again, I'm not making this up. Anybody can research these names. They can look up their quotes. They can look up what these guys were specifically about. I'm not lying. So it's like I said, I'm just trying to figure out who's lying here. Is it me? Is it history? Is it the information directly out there? Is everything just AI and virtual reality? Are we just in reboot? Like, let me know. Let me know specifically who it was, right? And then beyond that, take it a step further. Let me see. Yeah, Dr. Hector Garcia, he said, "We are not and have never been a civil rights organization. Personally, I hate the word." Right? Then you had John J. Herrera, right? He was an American attorney activist and the leader in the Chicano movement, right? For him, they stated that he joined the League of United Latin American Citizens, or the LULAC, in 1933 and began practicing law in Houston, Texas in 1943. During World War II, he was involved in the movement to end employment discrimination against Mexican Americans in Houston shipyards. In 1948, he joined the legal team that brought the school discrimination case of Minerva Delgado Delgado against the Bastrop Independent School District to Texas Supreme Court. The ruling declared educational segregation of Mexican American students illegal in Texas. Right? Then you got Felix Tijerina, right? Born, it was like 1905 to 1965, right? Was a Mexican American restaurant owner, activist, and philanthropist in Houston, Texas. He served as the 25th president of the League of United Latin American Citizens. Quote, his mission was to help Mexican Americans merge into American mainstream as successfully as he had, and that early Mexican restaurants like Felix's were among the first institutions where urban Anglos and Hispanics rub elbows, right? Felix, Americanized version of Mexican cooking, was what brought the races together, and it was a triumph of diplomacy. Walsh also added that Felix's style of cooking was not about bringing authentic Mexican flavors to Texas. It was about putting Anglos at ease with things Mexican. But people are like, yeah, blacks, we need to, come together. This is all of our fights. This is all of our battles, and this is why I keep trying to tell y'all coming to the wrong one, because we want to keep putting this directly up here, because it seems like I got to keep giving people refresher courses directly, over these years of covering the stuff, right? So we got Gustavo Gust C. Garcia. He said, I know Negroes aren't getting their full share of democracy, but frankly, I'm prejudiced against Negroes, and I do not believe that they are entitled to everything we get. And Mr. Garcia was an American civil rights attorney. Garcia worked with fellow attorneys Carlos Cadena in the landmark case Hernandez versus Texas, 1954, arguing before the United States Supreme Court for the end of a practice of systematic exclusion of Hispanics from jury service in Jackson County, Texas. Right? They said that Garcia served as legal advisor to the League of United Latin American Citizens from 1939 to the 1940s. He was elected to the San Antonio Independent School District Board of Education in April of 1948, but later resigned. He helped revise the LULAC Constitution to permit non-Mexican Americans to become members in 1949. In that year, he also served as a lawyer to the family of Felix Longoria, and help contract negotiations for rights of workers in the United States Mexico Baracerio program. And on May 8th of 1950, Garcia and George I. Sanchez appeared before the State Board of Education to seek desegregation enforcement. So anybody at this moment in time who is Latin, do not pull up to the scene telling me that black people, that black Americans, and y'all need to sit up there and come together. Y'all ain't try to come together at that time. And correct me if I'm wrong, looking at those years, like the 1930s and the 1940s, like, weren't we having like race riots and black towns and cities were getting burned down? But yet I don't remember hearing, Latins or Mexicans protesting or, saying that, oh no, that shouldn't be happening. Put down the pitchforks and the torches. Don't go towards the black neighborhoods. No, I didn't hear about that. I didn't see that. I don't even see it being depicted in movies. So I'm a little bit confused. Just let me just look up something real quick. Let me just see something. Let me just the Tulsa massacre, right? Let me just see that. So it was back in 1921. I wonder what all of these folks were doing back in 1921 and after that. I wonder what was their opinions on black towns and cities. Oh, better yet, I know what their opinion was. I know the Negroes aren't getting their full share of democracy, but frankly, I'm prejudiced against Negroes. And I do not believe that they are entitled to everything that we get, which means that if they're getting security, if they're getting safety, if they're getting protection, if they're getting government benefits, they don't care if black people aren't getting those. They're like, it's not our battle, it's not our fight, it has nothing to do with us. We're just here for ourselves. So yeah. Yep. Like I said, it seems that I got to keep doing a refresher course every single time, and I got to keep bringing up this information every single year because I always get somebody that try to tell me that there is no type of issues when it deals with Black Americans and like Latins and Mexicans and all this other Dominicans and all this other type of stuff. People always try to skip past all of this stuff here and act like it never happened. So when I sit up there and specifically state that they see themselves as white and identify as white, I mean just that. Nobody can sit up there and tell me any different. Again, this is stuff that was here before I was born. So this is not Chat GPT. This is not AI through whatnot. This is stuff that anybody can sit up there and look up. This is history. It's in black and white. This is not me. This is just used to cause division. No, the division was already there. You had people that were leading in that division. Black people didn't do this. When black people look at anybody else that is an immigrant or a migrant coming here, we look at you the same way as we look at ourselves. But yet that was our problem. And because we didn't realize that, that's how we're in the circumstances that we are currently in. Because we inevitably were not specifically just looking out for ourselves. We were looking out for ourselves and everybody else. When realistically, we should have practiced the exact same things that everybody else was doing. The Asians were looking out for themselves. Africans were looking out for themselves. The Latins, the Mexicans, Dominicans, the Cubans looking out for themselves. Everybody else is looking out for themselves. It was Black Americans that always tried to pull people in and try to view them the same way that we view ourselves. Like I said, that was our fault. If I have to sit up there and admit a type of fault that is there, I can admit that. That was a point. That was a place where we have failed ourselves, and we are still failing ourselves at this moment in time. I can admit that is the strongest, that is the brightest shining failure that I could realistically point out to people at this moment in time. Because I can go through a multitude of groups historically who have said very similar things as what you can see directly on this screen. And those same exact groups will sit up there and say that we all need to come together where and when. Because when we did try to come together, especially back during those days, y'all were not trying to come together with us. Y'all were fighting for yourselves. You were getting your own benefits. You were looking out for your own community. You were trying to get what it is that you can get out of this country, and you didn't care what anybody else was or was not able to get. Nor were you going to lift a finger to help them, even if you could. Like I said, it's crazy. That is diabolical. Look at that. Travis. It's a shame, good sir. You said people playing the victim card too much is all it is. How is history playing the victim card? So pointing out history as the victim. So okay, let me put it to you like this, Travis. Right. So let's say that I agree with you, right? That people are playing the victim card. Cool, no problem. We're going to just stay on that basis. If at any point in time that I hear white people complaining about the government or the police or the military brutalizing them, stealing directly from them, and they're trying to displace white people off of their land, I'm going to come directly back with your comment, and I'm going to say from white people from the rooftops that you guys are just playing the victim card. I've seen videos of white folks being brutalized by the police. Guess what? You're playing the victim card. I've seen white people do raids on white homes, taking the lives of white folks. Guess what? You're playing the victim card. I've seen white Americans directly out here complaining about the government, complaining about the deficit, complaining about the laws and the regulations, and how unfair it is that the rich are able to profit and that you are meant to just basically stay poor, aka being in the slave class. And I'm just looking at that as a black American, is that you're just playing the victim card a little bit too much. You need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and figure some stuff out. America doesn't owe you anything. Isn't that normally what people sit up there and tell black Americans? Isn't that what it's supposed to be? That's crazy. Like what you said? You said LOL, that's laughable. I mean, I guess it is. Again, like I said before earlier, and I'm going to repeat it like, beating a dead horse. When the moment in time America falls directly by your hands, I'm going to make sure to sit up there and say that that's laughable too. When your military turns directly against you, I'm going to say that that's laughable. When your police are activated like the dogs that they are, and they're going directly into your white neighborhoods and homes, and they're not there for protection, I'm going to sit up there and say that that's laughable too. When the government starts enforcing certain laws and regulations, where it is that you have a social credit system, and that if you don't follow and abide by whatever medical advice that they sit up there and give you, that you are now barred and banned, because they'll have the digital system where it deals with the money and everything is interlinked, and you can't sit up there and buy food for your family, water, and things of that nature. I'm going to sit up there and say that that's laughable. So, like I said before, it is what it is. It is directly what it is. Everything is coming that is coming has already been foretold. Those who placed black people into captivity shall they themselves be placed into the exact same captivity. It's the only difference is it's going to be the captivity of your making. It's going to be a little bit more manageable. It's going to be nicer. So the captivity is going to be within, these smart cities where you live, where you work, where your jobs are at the bottom floor, and then on the top floor is your apartment, or vice versa. And that if anything basically happens directly within that block or that city, everything is locked down and you can't move or go anywhere. You'll sit up there and have a curfew. Matter of fact, they gave you curfews. Remember back during 2 or 3 years ago, right? During the pandemic, remember how everybody had a curfew? Yeah, that was a trial and a test run. It'll be back. Remember how it is that they were trying to really push these certain like IDs and identifications that you needed to have on your phone in order to get access to certain everyday things, such as like maybe you want to go to a concert or maybe a restaurant, but you had to have the files on you to basically show that it was okay for you to actually go in there. Yeah, that was a trial run, but guess what? It'll be back. They were literally trying to bait and barter people. Hey, we're giving free donuts. Hey, we're sitting up there giving these burgers and fries. Who was that bum that was the mayor of New York during that time? I forgot, De Blasio, whatever his name was. He was literally on, and I still have the video. He was on camera talking about like, oh, this is you get this delicious burger, this shake and these fries for free. If you basically show that you did what it is that the government told you to do, and I just get to have this for free. Wow. So they're going to give you a Happy Meal because you were a good little boy. You paid attention to the government. But guess what? If you don't listen and pay attention to the government or the WHO organization, you're not going to get anything, and you're going to be, pretty much destitute. dropped off on the streets, living underneath the freeways. But oh, wait, you can't do that because homelessness is going to be illegal. And they're going to sit up there and just place you in some type of internment camps or jails. Oops. Like I said before, I've gone over these things so many times. Y'all still don't listen. You still don't listen. Everything that you're sitting up there stating that you think is in the best interest or the benefit for you is going to come at a very high cost that you're not even paying attention to. You're not looking at it because you see all the benefits that you get now. But with every deal that you make with the devil, you're going to have to pay a mighty price. And it's going to be a price that you're not going to be able to actually pay. There's not going to be anything that you're going to be able to do this time. There's not going to be any sacrifices that you're going to be able to sit up there and do. You're not going to be able to put any slaves up there to basically barter for a trade or to mitigate whatever pain that you got to sit up there and suffer. You're going to have to really take this directly to the chin. You're going to have to deal with this. It's going to come at a very great toll, at a very great cost. And I don't care. Because you did this to yourselves. And like I said, y'all never want to sit up there and listen to Black Americans at all. Y'all never want to sit up there and listen. So here we are. Crazy work. Sham said they forget that the system turns on white skin quickly. Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But yeah, people are going to sit up there and figure it out, though. What goes around comes back around. Dun, 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 dun. Somebody said, wait, what? Let me look at some of the spam here. You will never. What is she talking about? Stop telling people what they are. Da, da, da. I'm trying to see when this person first pulled up to the live stream. Technically, they really weren't there. They just started coming in there spamming some random nonsense. I don't even know what that woman is even talking about. That got to be a bot right there. Let me tell you something. Yeah, I don't even know what she's talking about. Anyways, getting directly off of that whole thing, let me see. We looked at that video. Let me pull that directly down. And we got two videos directly left. So let's look. I guess we can go for this one.
This is a PSA for Charlotte. In the South Tryon area, my husband got pulled over. He's a truck driver by ICE. Yes, I said it, ICE. My husband is a light-skinned Black man. Yes, he probably could pass for someone who could be, Puerto Rican or Dominican of some sort. But they racially profiled him while he was working, started speaking to him in Spanish, and my husband was like, I don't really know what you're saying to me. So then they asked him for his ID, which technically he did not have to give, but he gave it to them anyway. They ran it through some system, and they cleared him out. But it's the fact that now he has to watch his back because he could end up getting pulled over by somebody else. Like, they really out here racially profiling people. And you might not even be Hispanic, but if you can pass or you're light skinned, they might just question you anyway. So you really got to be careful. But one of the tell signs is that they started speaking to him in Spanish. So that's the only thing I can say. But they're really heavy in Charlotte, and especially in that Tryon area, South Tryon area. Be safe.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about this. Firstly, I don't even know what her husband looks like. That would have been a very good example to just put your husband directly on screen, but you decided to be the wife and put this video directly out, which does not help the point that you're trying to sit up there and make, which then leads me to believe that it's a lie, or some type of fabrication, because again, I don't know who this woman is. I don't know specifically where she's from. Bloodline wise, I don't know who her husband is, what he looks like, and bloodline wise, what he specifically is at all either. So again, like I said, I'm looking at this as more people out there trying to fearmonger Black Americans into feeling a certain type of way about this situation. Because like I said before, whenever it's dealt with any other situation, you did not see, because Black people were out there, in a sense, you didn't really see people trying to do this. Now that in general, everybody knows that Black Americans are pulling back. Now you got a lot of this fear mongering type stuff. Like, it's crazy. Like even back during the time of like Stop the Asian Hate, you had some black folks directly out there. They might have been marching, protesting, saying stuff online and all this other type of stuff. You didn't see people trying to, do whatnot or whatever. Right? You did, well, at least like in this extent, they did the reverse, which was we're going to do the stereotype, like, let's sit up there. If we're talking about Stop the Asian Hate, we're going to make black people the poster child for this. And I specifically told people while covering that for a very long time, how did we get to this point that Stop the Asian Hate and black Americans were the poster children? I'm like, that is wild. Because I'm like, did we not have internment camps for the Japanese and the Chinese here? And you're sitting up here talking about that we're the poster children? Wasn't it back in the day dealing with the railroads that folks out there tried to stop the Asians from being able to even work there because they felt that the Asians were taking their jobs that were rightfully their job? What I could have sworn those things were taken, but like people said before, hey, it's only black people are the racist ones out here. We're the only ones out here that could ever be racist. Black Americans are the ones that have conjured racism into this universe. Before black Americans existed, everybody just looked at human beings as human beings. That is the story that a lot of people would like to sell, along with a few bridges, and people are buying those up. Let me tell you something. But let's go to the next one.
Out of Chicago is crazy, and it's not getting nearly enough attention. ICE agents in civilian clothing jumped out of an unmarked vehicle and grabbed this black man off the street without asking a single question. I don't know how anyone in their right mind could possibly agree with this or defend it. Take a look.
What's going on? What's up with you? Watch out, man. What's y'all with me? I got cameras.
Yeah, this is not law enforcement anymore. It is state-sponsored abduction, and I'm not even exaggerating. When ICE agents can hide their identity, operate in unmarked vehicles, and arrest people without due process, that's not policing, that is tyranny. This is the kind of tactic authoritarian governments use to terrorize civilians into silence. At this point, it's very safe to say ICE has crossed every single moral and constitutional line imaginable. They're no longer enforcing immigration law. They're targeting U.S. citizens, racially profiling people, and operating like a secret police force. Dressing like civilians is a deliberate strategy to blur the line between law and lawlessness. Imagine living in a country where you can't tell if the person pulling you into a car is a cop, a federal agent, or a kidnapper. That is Trump's America. People are being taken off the streets by unidentified men for no reason, and we're supposed to call that security? And notice how they've transitioned from targeting people who they assume are Mexican or not born here to now attacking black people for no reason. The next step are Democrats.
I'm a little bit confused. That's a huge jump there, right? So he mentioned the immigrants, right? But he didn't really specify, and then he just said black people. My thing is, right, little Johnny here doesn't even know if the guy that was recording was black American, because again, you have a lot of immigrants that, let's say, are Haitian, that are Jamaican or African. They could be born directly here and live amongst black Americans, picking up on the lingo, picking up on the style, the walk and the dress, but still at heart, bloodline wise, be African. So as I stated before, nobody knows what that guy looks like. Nobody knows where his family is specifically from at all, but yet they want to consider him to be black. And they're not talking about just black American, just a flat black, because if you're black, you're just black. And I'm like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're over that too. We've been over that for the longest time possible, and we didn't start that. Everybody else did. Because again, like I said earlier before, black Americans tried to look at everybody who is an immigrant as one of them, because we understood certain things. We know how the government is going to treat them, look at them, and all this other type of stuff. So, we wanted to try to help them out and be beneficial and symbiotic relationship, all to our own demise. So now we're in 2026. After all of that stuff, now we're in 2026, where a lot of these people have to pay the piper. They have to pay the price for what it is that they were allowed to sit up there and do. And this is that price. Their grandparents didn't tell them that. Their parents didn't tell them that. Now they have to sit up there and suffer the consequences of the choices that they decided to sit up there and make. It's only so long that you will be able to succeed after you have decided that you wanted to slight other people directly out there for your own benefit. You're only going to be able to profit from that for so long. And this is what you're looking at. People messed around and now they are finding directly out. You know? That one is completely confusing. What does Sham say? No, that video itself is online. I've seen it. It's from one of those crime shows. Da-da-da. You said right, it said SEIJIHITO. Somebody said, yeah, they seem to get all upset right away. Da-da-da-da-da. And then your passport at best. Yeah. Yo, we got we got Miss Burger here. What is up? What is up? What is up? What is up? What is going on? Ross said, right, they do have bail bondsmen dressed the same way as well. Somebody said that they thought the goal was to watch. I'm a little bit confused because I'm highly confused. So somebody obviously wants a little bit of attention. No problem. No problem. Somebody said, hey, can we talk about the live chat channel owners? I don't even know what that is, but what's the problem? What's the issue? Because I know there has to be a problem and an issue. I know there has to be a problem and issue. So what's the issue? What's the problem? You're dealing with HR at this moment in time. So I'm here to try to, help you with your situation, to help you work through these technical issues that you seem to be having problems with that you can't figure out for yourself. So let me know. What can HR do for you right now? Are you saying that you want to be kicked out? I'm a little bit confused. You got to word yourself properly. You got to word yourself properly. What do you mean by kicking out? Are you saying other people getting kicked out? You want to be kicked out, or you have been kicked out? What specifically can HR do for you right now? Ms. Berger said, I'm kind of glad that Tucker Carlson is making the difference known in mainstream media. Yeah, it'd be like that. I guess, at certain points, people got to be honest about certain things. You said what? You said, I thought the goal was to have people watch. People are watching. I'm not sure. You may not be able to, specifically see stuff, but I can see that people are watching. So I'm a little bit confused. Like you're not getting directly to what the problem or the issue is. You're holding up the line, sir. You're holding up the line. HR is trying to help you before you get helped. So I'm trying to work with you. Trying to work with you, because currently at this moment in time, as you're talking, we have about at least what a good 7,744 people. So yeah, I'm a little bit confused. I'm a little bit confused, and I know I'm looking at one side of the channel, so I know that y'all can't really see the comment that I'm replying to. I do have them highlighted, so there's that. Because I'm going through real quick. I gotta go through the other. Shout out to Adele, because we going to the other side. So on the other side that we got a clear cut 8,820. So clearly people are watching. Just saying. You said I thought the goal was to have people watch over a misunderstanding, sorry, or a typo in their band. And then you said this is a live chat, and then you said, okay, I give up. That was quick. Yo, that is crazy. That is crazy. Like I said before, if people decide to come up here and they want to talk stupid, then we can clearly get stupid. Like Jack Nicholson said as the Joker. No, was it Jack Nicholson or was it Michael Keaton? I forgot which one. It was like, you want to get nuts? We can get nuts, right? That whole thing. So that's the type of energy that you will happen to give. If you happen to be stupid, we can get stupid. And anything else. So that's what tends to happen. I keep trying to tell people that energy will clear cut be returned directly here. I've been open and honest about that for the longest time possible. The energy that you put out will be the energy that you will receive. So again, if you come here stupid, it's going to get stupid. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what to sit up there and tell you. Somebody said, can we ban all the people blocking traffic in the streets from welfare or any tax assisted programs for life because they obviously are able-bodied and can go get a job? Hey, that'll be up to the powers that be. The greater majority, just like the greater majority voted in this election, the greater majority would have to vote directly on that. There's nothing I can say about it. I'm just a simple black American. I'm your friendly neighborhood black guy, just sitting here talking online, about to go fix some food because I am hungry, boy, oh boy. Yo, Alex the chef, what is up? What is up? What is up? You said thought you said you gave up, champ, LOL, while you still here. That's crazy. You said you tried to talk to me. I responded. People correct me if I'm wrong. Did I not respond to this guy? I took out like 5 minutes. Or at least it feels like to me. I took out like 5 minutes to literally give this person time to tell HR, which is me, what the problem is so we can rectify the issue and just continue on. I didn't really get anything directly out of it. So I don't know what to tell people. Don't know what to tell people. It's like, that's crazy. You said when you ban people, you cut off watchers. I mean that happens. Again, if people come stupid, they come disrespectful, they decide to start saying stereotypical things about Black Americans, or they want to be racist, or all of the above. Yeah, you're going to get banned. I don't care about the view. You can have that view. If you want them to sit up there and view your content or be a part of your channel, you can sit up there and have that view. I do not need that here. I can decide to entertain it if I want to. And that's if you might possibly catch me on a good day. Other days, I don't feel like actually dealing with it, so I'll either ignore it, or my moderators will get rid of them, or I'll get rid of them, or all of the above. Like I said before, people, like I said, I'm trying to have you understand something real quick, because because I like playing with numbers real quick. So I'm just going to put it as a flat 7, and then let me put the 8 directly up there. So altogether, looking at this live stream, I got about 15,000 people that have come through that view this at one time or another, and then we got consistent viewers of at least 100 and 10K there respectively. So I don't care if I lose like 1, 2, 5 or 10 views, even 20. I don't care. It's whatever it is. Like I said, that's not really bothering me. So I'm not really too sure what you want the point to actually be here. That's all I'm trying to figure out. That's all I'm trying to figure out. You said, see you all get mad. What are you Yo. You said, I do get you. Do you get me? Oh, dear Lord. I feel like this is either AI or somebody speaking from a different country. And this is what makes things so difficult, because it's like people just do not fully understand what's being stated. And I'm saying this as clear. I'm just going to ignore it. You said, if you are trying to explain anything, I feel like this has been like 10 minutes of nothing. Let me just this has been 10 minutes of like nothing. Nothing has been stated. We didn't even get to like what the only thing you said is like people being banned and then views. And I said that I don't care. So I'm like, I'm waiting for what the next thing is. like I said, it doesn't matter to me. I can just sit up there and make a standalone video, and people will pull through and watch that for a few seconds, few minutes, the full duration. It, like I said, it doesn't matter. My main point is, if I put out information and people listen to it, it's good. If people opt not to listen to it, that's good as well. Nobody can sit up there and tell me that I didn't at least try. At least I can sit up there. Like I said, I sleep at night knowing that I at least tried. No matter what it is that I do out here, at least I tried to use my voice for something instead of just sitting in the background doing nothing and just sitting up there complaining. That's all I'm sitting up there saying. So all in all, I don't care. It can be 0 views to 5 views. It for me, it doesn't matter. At least I tried. Like I said, that's the main thing that you can do basically on this planet is at least attempt and at least try and be consistent in that trying. So, anyways. you still talk about the exact same thing. It's like, dog, all right, I'm moving on. Anyways, let's go to, let me see, did I showcase that? Yeah, so now we're going to move on to the last video here and take a listen to this.
With her, because I wish people would stop trying to be vigilante. If the other side want to talk about America having white privilege, it's these motherfuckers with white privilege. White liberals are a cancer to fucking America. Black women only follow along because they've been told that they're a victim all their fucking life, so they don't got no brain on that side. They just go along with what the white woman say. You're a victim. They did this to you. They owe you this, when the whole time they want to use black people to steal. Let's talk about it. Civil rights is a way for the demon rats to fucking steal. And her wife should be charged with murder. Yes, I said it. You don't tell your wife to drive off in a situation that's highly intense like that.
I just want to sit up there and say that was clear-cut a message. And that's exactly what I set up there and said earlier. Right, where the situation that she's talking about is this situation here. As she stated, you don't tell your wife to drive off in a situation dealing with ICE, law enforcement, whoever it is. You don't tell your wife who is in the driver's seat to basically keep driving. You don't do that. You mess around and found out. This is why I tell people, you can't be sitting up there crying after you're the causation of what basically took place. You are the main one that enabled all of this to happen. Your wife could have been at home. She could have been like knitting, fixing dinner, ordering something from like Uber Eats. Like I said, she could have been at like Michael's, Publix, whatever it is. She could have been anywhere else but in that situation and still alive and breathing. You told her, as the head of that household, as the head of that relationship, that it is okay to come directly out here and put your life on the line. Let's keep going.
Where was the logical person in this situation? Calm down, baby. Let's just chill out. Her wife was sitting out there recording, talking shit to the cops, telling them that they need to go buy them some lunch. And when they come back, they still gonna have the same motherfucking license plate. And then as soon as the ICE officer said, get the fuck out the car, that's when the bitch tried her best to get in the car and all in the while telling her wife to drive off. Now I see why you were scared. Because you started some shit, you provoked those officers until they got to a point to do something about y'all bullshit, and now y'all want to flee.
Right. So one person pulled up and they said that you don't shoot a person fleeing from you. It doesn't matter what she said. The responsibility was on the officer to handle it properly. They didn't even let the ambulance reach them. The exact same thing. You know what? I would like to say that I agree with you. But the problem with that is a lot of Black Americans have stated that whenever that they have had interactions with police officers that inevitably ended with the loss of life. And the main thing that Black Americans will hear from everybody would be like, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't have been there. Why were you there in the first place? What were you doing there? Why were you in the officer's way? Why didn't you listen to the commands of a law-abiding officer, an oath keeper? Why can't you just sit up there and just not talk? Why can't you just do what the officers tell you? And maybe things like this wouldn't happen. Maybe if you dressed differently, if you wasn't wearing a hoodie, maybe if your hair was differently, maybe if you would actually speak English and have proper etiquette. maybe, just maybe, you would still be alive, right? That's what I've witnessed and watched a lot of folks like you tell Black Americans. And now you're sitting up there telling me as a Black American that the officers are in the wrong. But I, as a Black American, have always told you guys that your officers have been wrong, even with proof of police officers doing this to 400 United States citizens, such as planting evidence, such as drugs that the officer had on himself, planting drugs either on the person or the car in order to get that person arrested, to make it seem as though that they're actually doing a job. And now when that officer is found to have done illegal searches and seizures and planting evidence, now hundreds of people, they got to go through all of those cases and pretty much throw out all of that stuff. Not to mention the fact that people might have lost jobs, it might have ruined relationships, it might have potentially ruined their lives. No telling how many of those folks were behind bars and how long they were behind bars and how that basically messed up their record. But oh no, y'all didn't want to listen. Y'all didn't want to pay attention because it wasn't specifically happening to you and the people in your community, your friends and your coworkers. But now that you can sit up there and sit here and look at Renee Good, and you can specifically see that this officer that your comment is blocking at this moment in time, that officer up top did something wrong. Now y'all want to sit up there and be like, oh no, something needs to be done. Miss me with any of that. Miss me with any of that. I am not trying to hear it. I'm just going to be real. Ooh, I like this one here. Somebody said, you're a bigot, judging the actions of a few against all. I could do the same about murders and carjackings in my city, but it would be racist. Why don't you just do it? See, for you to sit up there and say that you could do it means that you've already done it. You've already thought about it internally and more than likely outwardly had conversations about these things and your internal feelings to like-minded people. I really, it's really nerve-wracking when you guys just won't be honest. It's cool. You feel that, it's indicative of a lot of Black people in the Black community to commit crimes and break the law and do all of these things, right? This is what you've been indoctrinated into. This is what your communities have spread for the longest time possible. This is why you guys have always feared Black people coming into the suburbs, because you feel that Black people inherently commit crimes, so that if a Black person shows up, magically crime is just going to be sprawling throughout your white suburban communities. Like I said, like y'all be, this is the stuff that I be talking about. Y'all be trying to sit up there and say that you're not racist while being racist at the same time. That's wild. And this is the thing that I've been honest about before. I've said up there, I can't be racist. No. Am I prejudiced? Yes, that I can be. That I can be. And I'm not just sitting up there saying because, these individual experiences. I'm going by history. I'm going by what it is that I've heard stories from my grandparents and them growing up down south, how it is that they were specifically treated, how they were chased. You're not going to sit up there and tell me that, that was fake stories. That was just made up. My grandmother was she was born in 1938. You're not going to sit up there and tell me that she was just faking and making up stories because, she just hates white people. And, I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. Who was alive during that time? No, nobody was alive during that time. Who's alive right now? No, my grandmother was. She was. Just like many other Black elders are currently alive at this moment in time, and they can tell a great deal of stories, libraries of stories about what it is that they experienced in America. But again, you're going to have white people come directly up here and sit up there and say that those are made up stories, that those stories did not exist, and that's just Black people trying to be anti-white. It's crazy work. It's diabolical in nature. Diabolical. Let me just be honest. It's funny to me when people try to sit up there and tell me that they've, marched for causes or whatnot, whatever, and all this other type of stuff. If specifically me just using you as an example because you decided to, sit up there and talk, and I used that as a jump off point to talk about what I wanted to talk about. if you know internally that I'm not specifically directly on you, and I'm just using you, generalizing and using you as an example, why even go this far? Or is it because that you heard what I was saying, it hit a certain point, you got emotional directly about it, and this is what you decided to come up with, like the others before you? Because before you and me talking the same exact way that I've been talking, I've been either called, like you saw highlighted, I've been called a bigot, I've been called a racist, I've been told that I hate white folks. So, like I said before, I need y'all to get y'all emotions directly in check. Out of all the racist comments and stuff that I get directly on this platform over the years, I need y'all to get y'all emotions directly in check. I'm just saying, just to be real. But anyways, I'm going to end this live stream directly on that note because something has just came up at this moment in time. And I will see you guys in the next live stream and or video. So, peace out.